Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Rantcast. I am your host, Joshua, also known as The Strange of Us. We'll go ahead and pull up the stream because we're in spoopy mode today. Unfortunately, Kurgan couldn't make it. He had some car trouble, but he's here with us in spirit today. God rest his soul. Nah, he's here, folks. Anyway, I'm Joshua, also known as The Strange of Us. Here with me is my co-host, as always, and that is Kurgan, also known as HeroQuest Fans. You can catch him live on Saturdays, Fridays and Saturdays, at twitch.tv/HeroQuestFans. That's twitch.tv/HeroQuestFans. And we're going to be talking to you about some topics. We're going to be doing some game rating. You're going to see us in Shit-O-Vision on purpose because I thought this was more aesthetically pleasing for Halloween. So enjoy the classic crappy cam with the orange overlay and the HeroQuest Power Hour as we're going to take it away as I turn down the immense loud audio. All right. So we'll start with, like I said, the HeroQuest Power Hour, and Kurgan, go ahead and take it away for us.
RantCast.
Cast. That's
Always canceling microphones every time. Hey, good to be here.
Actually, you might be able to catch that live if you say it again. Hold on. Wait.
Oh, yeah. Let's try that again.
Actually, you might be able to catch that live. Go ahead.
Yeah. On the RantCast. On the RantCast.
That's pretty good. Anyway, sorry, we're messing around.
Soundboard. Yeah.
It sounds like you're like gagging for like half a second. Cast.
RantCast. Yeah. This is great. Okay. So, in the world of HeroQuest, a bunch of stuff happened, and I already did a video on it on Tuesday. I was thinking, oh man, this is going to be my only chance because I've got a super busy weekend. Got to do one. But like right after I uploaded it, I feel like then we found out the name of the new expansion. So we had like a mystery expansion. It was like Rise of the Dread blank. And people were trying to guess it. So I spent like a good portion of my last stream trying to guess what the missing word was. And I was so close. I said sun, but it was actually moon. So Elviler got it. So Rise of the Dread Moon is coming out sometime next year. It's going to be an all-original HeroQuest expansion. Not just a couple of guys in a package, but a whole like quest pack with the works. And that's all we know about it right now. Also, the Rogue Heir of Elithorn. Let's see. I think Big Bad Toy Store. This was several hours ago, so they might be sold out. But they were actually shipping. So no more of this pre-order stuff. They're actually shipping. So I ordered mine. $16 plus shipping. And then Mage of the Mirror, they're taking pre-orders. Not a lot of extra details about it, but people are just anticipating, waiting for that to actually switch from pre-order to order. And then we'll be on our way. So, and then they also updated the companion app. They put actually the Rogue Heir of Elithorn hero into the companion app already. So I was telling everybody that I was going to play test it on my next stream, which didn't end up happening, but now you can just play test it yourself. So that's kind of cool. I don't think they've ever done that before. They haven't put something in the companion app before it's actually available to buy. They probably figured, okay, well, people are going to have it in about a week or so. For all we know, people in Australia already have it. So there's that. And then they also added the Guardian Knight finally as well. The only thing that I was a little confused by is when you're playing the companion app, and you and I have played that because we ran the digital display through BlueStacks on my stream. Mm-hmm. You can pick those other heroes, but you don't necessarily see everything that they've got. So the Rogue Heir, like all of his 3 abilities are like built in. They're passive. They're always in effect. So you can always pass through monsters. So you don't have to like flip a card to see that. But you just got to remind yourself, oh yeah, he can do that. And he can always do an extra attack die, using his dagger if the opponent is next to another hero. So if you bunch together, you've got that strategy going. And then the third one, if I remember correctly, it was, see, I forget the names. There's ambidextrous, opportunistic striker, and forget what the other one's called. But yeah, one of them let you pass through monsters, extra die when he's attacking a nearby target. And I think he gets a second attack if he uses the short sword first, which he doesn't start with. He's got to buy it. Use the short sword first or dagger first. Then he can do a second attack with the dagger. And since it stacks, it's like, so he gets one attack and then he gets a 2 dice attack. Like virtually every time, as long as he's strategically placed. So pretty powerful character. The downside is that he can't wear armor. All he can wear is the bracers, but I mean, he can't wear the chainmail, plate, helmets, or shields. So he's going to be kind of weaker. Actually, I'm not sure about helmets. I'll have to double check that. But he's going to end up being a weaker type of character. And unlike the wizard, he can't heal himself. So keep him alive, he can do a lot of damage, but he's also a softer target. And he's got that bandolier, but I was wrong in my speculation about the hero. I thought that the bandolier was like the source of his power. Kind of like how the knight, if you take away his shield, like all of a sudden he loses 2 of his skill abilities. But the bandolier apparently just gives him an infinite bag of daggers. So he could just keep throwing daggers like all day long. But if you're playing the Frozen Horror, in theory, as Zargon, I got to think about these things. The Ice Gremlin can steal 1 item from you instead of attacking. So he could run up, grab the bandolier, run away, and then all of a sudden you've just got 1 dagger. So if you didn't plan ahead and stockpile some extra weapons, you might be in trouble.
It'd be a bottomless bag of daggers, though.
Yeah. And it would be funny if then the Ice Gremlin could turn around and use them. Because that's not in the rules, but that'd be kind of a fun little spoiler.
It'd be something that you could make up, though.
Yeah, exactly. Easily homebrew it in there. Now, the knight, his abilities are not passive. So he has the ability to switch it around so that when a wandering monster attacks one of his fellows, he could say, no, attack me instead. As long as you have that hero in sight. And his skill card is not in the app at all, which I think is kind of a weakness. I mean, I know they probably did it on purpose just so that you would still buy it, but since it's so hard to get the Guardian Knight in the first place, I don't know. It kind of makes me wonder if maybe they are going to re-release it. And that's one of the speculations people have is, as we know, the big scandal with the Guardian Knights scandal. People really wanted it and it sold out so quickly and it was a limited time thing through GameStop and a couple other places, so it's gone. Well,
power to the players.
Power to the players, yeah. They took the deal, whatever. But my speculation and a lot of people's speculation is, okay, you have that leaked picture of the new expansion, Rise of the Dread Moon. It shows a knight character on the box. So we're kind of grasping at straws, hoping that, okay, there's going to be a knight character inside the box, and it'll be kind of like the apology to everybody who couldn't get it. To say, yeah, you can get it in another form, and technically we aren't breaking the exclusive agreement we had with it being an exclusive figure. I think it looks cooler with the helmet on, but that's what it is.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. So anyway, yeah, all that stuff just happened in a matter of days, and it was just like, okay, we're done, and then there's some more stuff happening. So it's like, okay. So people are constantly posting in the HeroQuest fans Discord, like, oh yeah, this website is offering this product, and they're sold out, and they're getting more. I think Amazon keeps saying out of stock, but that implies they had a set number of pre-orders. People put them in, and now they're waiting for the next set. Again, I've said it before. I'm not going to pre-order. I'm going to wait till it's actually shipping, then I'll get it. That's just my thing.
You don't want the Rogue Heir of Elithorn DLC pre-order bonus?
Yeah, they don't have any bonuses of any kind. People were asking that on my stream, though. They were like, oh yeah, is there any exclusive stuff you get? It's like, no.
You get a katana. Not really.
That'd be nice. I mean, a pre-order bonus is cool when you get it, and it's not cool when you don't get it.
Come on, in Carmine. Offer some pre-order bonuses. Yeah. You get a t-shirt. Free t-shirt.
Free t-shirt, yeah. Yeah, it sounded like they had a lot going on. Of course, I don't know how many people they have on Avalon Hill's team, but I mean, they've got all that HeroScape stuff to keep track of. Like HeroScape right now is doing the same thing that HeroQuest did back in 2020, which was having a pledge drive, and they got all those tiers. And I don't know how much they got to raise, if it's $1 million or more. but I think the set is like $90.
So do you think they're trying to reboot Heroescape right now then? Or what?
Well, they've made it clear that it's a little bit different than HeroQuest in that, yeah, it's been, I think, 13 years rather than 30 years. So, I mean, it's still a little bit more fresh in people's minds. And they said, well, this new set is going to continue where the last one left off. I never played the game, so I don't really, I'm just going by what I've heard. And it's going to be fully compatible. So the little hexagon discs that you use to build up terrain are going to be the same. So if you own like all that stuff, it's not like you're gonna. It's I have to change it. It's like no, you just add it onto your old set and go off. The only thing people were complaining about is, if it's a complaint, is that in the original set, like all the figures were painted, like pre-painted. I mean, some people painted them themselves anyway, but now they're unpainted. So depending on where you
So now you gotta paint your own figurines.
Yeah, you got to paint your own figurines. Yeah, because the original fans of HeroScape never had to do that. Whereas with HeroQuest, they were unpainted, so some people painted them, some people didn't, and the new set was just the same as the old one. So there's that. I don't know. I think the designs that I've seen so far look pretty cool. It reminds me a lot of the new HeroQuest, and coincidentally, I think it is the same. I don't know if it's probably a team of people like digitally creating the sculptures and they farm it out somewhere else, but I think it's the same artistic company or group or whatever it happens to be. So there's a very similar style. It almost looks like the HeroScape figures would be compatible. I think the scale is very similar to the HeroQuest remake.
Heroescape set is $249. Last I heard, they have 1,800 out of their goal of 8,000 backers.
So thanks, Elviler. Yeah, so I was completely wrong. Why did I think it was $89?
Welcome, Elviler.
Yeah. I haven't been following it. I think I glanced at it once because, again, I was never a fan back in the day. I know it was bigger than HeroQuest, I think, in its heyday. So certainly it'll be a big money maker for them. If I have no reason to believe that they wouldn't make it with the funding. And they said right off the bat it's going to be retail, like after the pledges are fulfilled. So I think you get like some extra figures that are really big, large figures. But I guess the theme of it is it's like a mixture of fantasy and like sci-fi. So you have characters from different time periods coming together to fight. So there's like, I don't know, gorillas with like bionic parts on them and like knights with like laser swords and blasters and stuff.
Wolverine and Luke Skywalker.
Maybe. Well, I think there were some crossovers to branded IPs back in the day. So I wouldn't be surprised if something like that. I mean, if they can swing it, because they're doing business with all those companies anyway.
Yeah, I mean Hasbro still makes Star Wars toys, don't they?
Yeah, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Power Rangers.
How's it going? We are great. I'm great. You great? Fantastic. Hope you're doing all right.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Elviler, you've been busy. I saw you had a big update on your site. A lot of good stuff in there, and I like the way you've been doing it because it's almost like a journal. Like with the HeroQuest stuff, it feels like it's a snapshot of kind of the thrill of discovery that we had as the tidbits of news come in and the rumors get started and then the rumors get quashed and then new rumors begin. I really enjoy that. So keep up the good work.
Keeping the spirit alive.
Yeah. Because years from now, people are just going to be like, oh, why was this such a big deal? Like, it's like, no, people were really anticipating this, that, and the other thing.
Trying to keep track to remember good memories. Yeah, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I was, too young in 1989 to be like, oh man, there's this new board game coming out. Oh, it's just
So tell us what's on the book rhetoric.
Oh yes. So
we brought some treasures for our Halloween special.
Yeah, so
Halloween month.
We've been doing game books on my stream just kind of randomly, and I've got all these like spooky themed game books here.
If you don't mind, here, let me help.
Potato cam.
Yeah, because so we did this as an aesthetic choice, and I forgot to mention that it's not going to be good on the eyes for people. So
it's dark, and I'm wearing sunglasses.
I didn't have a very.
I can actually read it. So when I go camping, not a lot of people know this. Like everybody else goes to bed, and you have your little headlamp, and you just switch it to red, so it's like not as bright. It doesn't attract like bugs, and then you can like keep reading your book.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, the earliest thing I had was I had my Game Boy with like the little lamp that you plugged into the
the
side,
little
and
ring
it
light.
sucked the battery life
Yeah.
out of it. So like
But
I
I'm
could.
sure it was so cool with like the
Yeah.
covers over your head and you're playing Zelda or whatever.
So while we're going through kind of the rest of the HeroQuest Power Hour,
Yeah.
we've got a vote for people whoever wants to kind of vote. We've got the Castle of No Return.
Yeah.
It's by R.G.
Austin.
Austin. We have
R.G. Austin says it's freaked your ass.
Wizards, Warriors, and You, Book 7.
These games are a little tougher than I remember. Like, I must have really been a glutton for punishment as a kid. Just like, oh, I got killed again. Just keep going.
Ooh, this one you might have my vote on. I think I've done this one before.
Ghost
Hunter by Edward Packard.
Wasn't he that cannibal guy?
Ate to face off a dozen people. And we've got a Twista plot, which is Midnight at Monster Mansion.
That one is actually from my childhood. These others I got like in a couple of auctions.
Also, I'm like touching all this history. Yeah.
Wash your hands, put your white gloves on.
Another Twista plot, which is Horrors of the Haunted Museum.
Ben Stiller's not in that.
Oh. And then Vampire Spies and Alien Beings.
That book, so great.
Oh, these were like 99-cent books at one point in time.
Yeah.
How old were these?
80s.
Really?
Yep.
Some of these look like they're thinking from like the late 70s.
Some of these, well, yes, that's the thing though. Some of them were from the 70s and they were re-released in the 80s. And some were re-released in the 90s, but
there we go.
That's what
I'd say the text gets me right here. The
style.
Yeah. The rounded.
Because now it's like you see nostalgic products that are trying to duplicate that look. It's like, oh yeah. But yeah, as a kid, I would go to the library and just get like a stack of those. There's some that I wish I could still find. There was one. It was really creepy. It was about like ESP and ghosts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like you're reading the book and you're doing the choose your own adventure thing, and it's like, what if psychic powers are real? What if you have them? It's like talking to you, the reader, like what? And it's like, try to imagine in your mind what the picture is, and then like go to the picture, and it's like, not even close. It's like, okay, I don't have psychic powers, I guess.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, you get sucked in. Like
what if you gotten that right though? You'd be like, oh shit. You're like, it's like crazy forever. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're just an impressionable child. You're reading these books.
You're like stripped naked. You're running across the tree. You've gone crazy.
Yeah, and it's like it's probably good I got him for the library because I was the kind of kid like I would like stay up all night because I watched the scary movie. I shouldn't have done that.
Oh yeah,
my parents would have been like, okay, give me the book.
So Elvira, I don't know if you've been watching, but I've been in a couple of spooky episodes the last couple nights, and it literally it's done what he just said. Like my first time playing Visage was horrifying. I'm a big babby when it comes to scary games.
It's so wrong, but I love those parts when you get scared. I'm just like laughing.
Like I whined the entire time doing anything. It took me 4 hours to make progress in that game. What takes people like an hour. And I replayed that same episode yesterday, and literally only took me an hour to get past what took me 4 hours the first night.
Game graphics have come a long way, but isn't it how interesting? Like how the mind works. It's like, it's fake. It's 100% fake. But just the anticipation of like, okay, they're going to jump scare me. They're going to scare me in 3, 2, 1, and poof, you just can't help it. You get the chill down your spine. You get that sort of, I can't believe you get mad at for me, I get mad at myself. Like, why did I react? It's like not even real. Like, but you just can't help it.
Yeah, it's
that radio.
It's the horror. Yeah, it's just the ambience and the horror, especially when like you turn off the lights from even my lights being like this low, and having my headphones on, the ambience, you're there. Like, I was doing what Wolf was trying to tell me, which was, imagine you're like a paranormal detective. You're going in, you're trying to find out the murders and stuff, and like I was like, okay, so I'm not naturally afraid of these things. They're like normal for me. So I walked in my second time around and. Literally, I was running into things I wasn't even running into my first time around because I was probably too scared. I was missing them. So I would walk into a hallway and there she was. She would, head was flapping around. I was like, oh God, I don't want to keep going. And when you're on stream and people are watching you, like you have like this need to keep going. Like you can't just go, okay, nope, that's it, then turn it off.
Well, and I've seen streams, and I guess it's hard to tell, right? Because it's not like you know the person, even if you watched hundreds of hours of the stream. Like they could just be acting like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Like they're just completely like fake. But sometimes the reactions are genuine, and it's just, or at least it seems genuine. It's just funny.
Well,
Because it shakes you out of your modern, like, oh, I've got the world figured out. I've got all this technology. It's like, no, I can still be scared by random shadows and sounds.
Mine was the anticipation. So I was always figuring like I was going to run into the things where I turn the corner and she'd be there.
It's like the Blair Witch Project. It's like you never actually see the witch, but you keep thinking you're about to.
I have a Blair Witch game we should play tonight.
Oh, there's also a Night of the Living Dead,
and it's in VR. We should.
There's a bunch of VR games.
Yeah, it's really good. Well, I mean, you play it not VR too, but it's not really that scary, but it can be pretty freaky at times.
Because jump scares are kind of a cheap way to scare you, but it's gotten to the point where, I mean, I've gotten scared. I often tell the story playing Dark Forces, the original Dark Forces. Like, is it a Noat city, or what's the one where it's the abandoned city where it's all trashed?
Oh, are you thinking like the Sith city at the end? Oh no, that's Mystery of the Sith.
No, it's near the beginning of the game. You find the Dark Trooper weapon, you bring it back. But there's like, you go around a corner and there's like a little alcove where you're supposed to like get some ammo or something. And I get it, and there's a stormtrooper sneaks up on you. And he's like, you're not authorized in this area, but it like comes out of nowhere now. I jump. It's like I never jump in games, but that always gets me. And it was just like, man. I mean, it's not a scare. You don't think of a Star Wars game as being like a horror game, but still.
They were gonna do one way back in like the late aughts, like 2009, 2010. They were putting one up on the board with LucasArts because they released a book around that time, because zombies were the thing around that time, right? And there was a book. I can't remember what it's called, but it took place. The main characters were they were like two inmates who lived on an imperial prison freighter, and it actually included Han Solo and Chewie around I think that time before Star's End. So this was prior to Disney taking over, but it included like some sort of bacterial virus that like killed people really fast. Yeah, and it was like them, Han Solo, Chewie, this like one medical like lady. I can't remember what it was called. Hold on. I can pull it up though. I now have my phone available for me.
City.
No, it's like on the tip of my tongue, but hold on.
Resident Sith.
Residence. Star Wars.
It's the Mandalorians.
Well, it's called Death Troopers.
Death Troopers.
Yeah, there was Star Wars Red Harvest and Death Troopers.
Oh, so Blue Harvest.
No, not Blue Harvest, just Death Troopers. Yeah, it's like $10. You get it, or you can actually get it for $8. It's written by Joe Schreiber. Joe Schreiber was big on these. They're now considered Legends books, of course.
Legends are the best.
But they're about 300 pages, so I mean they're not like super crazy.
I read this.
Oh, Elvira was trying to get me. Oops. Yep, you're talking about the book Death Troopers. Yeah, it was an amazing book.
Nice.
Sorry. Good save, Elvira. Yeah, I was looking it up. Yeah.
He's good at guessing stuff.
Never finished Red Harvest. Yeah, but like, yeah, it
was that scary?
Great book. I think I read it back when it was released, and there was a guy who's talking about an overview of Death Troopers, and it, like I said, it was, to me, I felt like it was a capitalization on like the zombie thing at the time, but how they depicted everything was still really good. And I would recommend giving it a read.
Going back to it now, because I was getting burned out on the whole zombie thing.
I can give you an overview while we're like I said, because like this Rantcast, we're just celebrating the month of, because Halloween to me is more of a month than a time of day. For adults anyway. Like for kids, it's about getting the candy, doing stuff like that.
Well, and where I live, like I don't really get the opportunity to give out candy. I mean, unless I go hang out with my niece or my nephew, which I'll probably do this year. That'll be fun. Give out candy, give candy.
So Death Troopers, if we're looking at the overview for Death Troopers, hold on. If I can remember. Red Harvest, not scary. I don't think I've ever read Red Harvest. I just thought it had like a link to Death Troopers, though it might not. So hold on, let's see if we can find a description.
Going back to something that was said earlier, so
Okay.
$249 for Heroescape. That's a lot for a board game.
Yeah, it is.
You must be getting a lot for that. I mean, you better be. I mean, there's inflation, I know, but anyway, back to the Star Wars thing.
It's the origin story of the virus. Ah, okay. Yeah, so here's your overview. When the Imperial prison barge, the Purge, temporary home to 500 of the galaxy's most ruthless killers, rebels, scoundrels, and thieves, breaks down in a distant part of space, its only hope appears to lie with a Star Destroyer found drifting and seemingly abandoned. But when a boarding party from the Purge is sent to scavenge for parts, only half of them come back, bringing with them a horrific disease so lethal that within hours nearly all aboard the Purge die in ways too hideous to imagine. And death is only the beginning.
Sounds like a fanfic, but I mean,
the Purge's half-dozen survivors will do whatever it takes to stay alive, but nothing can prepare them for what lies aboard the Star Destroyer. For the dead are rising, soulless, unstoppable, and unspeakably hungry. To me, it wasn't that bad. From what I got from the overview and reading it, it was very overboard. Like, it kind of went overboard at times, but it was also a zombie story at the time. So, like, to me, it was fun.
I think zombies would not be any threat in the Star Wars universe. But on the other hand,
to these guys, it's a kid and his brother, and they were aboard a. And how they described this disease, like I said, the author did a really good job, I think, on it. And like I said, it got approved with Lucas somewhere, because this is still around the time when they had to bring. Yeah, they had to bring it to approval. So, yeah, I'd recommend giving it a read if you ever get any extra time.
I just picture him with a rubber stamp in his hand, and he's got this huge pile like in his inbox, and he's just like stamp, 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 stamp. He like motions to an intern to come over. I'll just keep pinning these. I'm gonna go get a salad.
We'll get some coffee and a salad because it's the safer choice, you know. But yeah,
he cried himself to sleep on a pile of $1,000 bills every.
My wife is leaving me. Pretty sure the zombies were kind of sentient too. They could operate technology and use blasters. Yeah, so it wasn't like you're like typical, but they were. They did eat at you. They kind of remind me of the World War Z type zombies because they would pile on top of each other, if I remember right.
Yeah, I never saw that movie. I never read.
They would do like a when they rushed at them, they would all rush in groups. So it was kind of weird, but yeah, they were. I would say give it a read. It's really that's all I could say. And it didn't put you at the perspective of somebody of pure of heart. Like I said, the purest of heart heroes there were Han and Chewie, and they didn't start purest of heart either. So,
no. Well, in the Han Solo adventures, you got inklings that like Han has a bit of a conscience, you know, and Chewie has a little bit of honor. But yeah, it's kind of like they haven't quite found.
And he didn't hang around with what's her name from Game of Thrones. No. I've forgotten both her actual name and her stage name for that. But yeah,
actress face.
Actress McActress face.
I never saw the show, so I don't know.
But yeah, that was the movie. World War Z movie was no good.
Apparently, the new Game of Thrones is kicking Rings of Power's booty.
So okay, so we can do that. Hold on, how much time do we have before ad? Because we can talk about that. Like I said, we're just kind of winging topics tonight.
I was actually listening to a podcast of some Tolkien fans who are really trying hard to like salvage the Rings of Power and go, oh, well, look at all these good things that are in there, and you know, it's like, so I keep getting torn. Like on the one hand, like someone convinces me, yeah, it's a complete waste of time. And someone else will convince me, no, you should check it out.
I would say.
You never know until you watch something, right?
Only seen the first two episodes. So the beginning to me seemed like a solid show. I'm just not interested in it. I'm not that big of a Lord of the Rings fan. I liked the original Lord of the Rings stuff that Peter Jackson did, only because, one, they're good movies. I think they're good movies, from my opinion.
Even if you never even stick your toe in it, like, they're good.
And I've read the book. I was kind of forced to read the book by my stepdad, but in being forced to read the book, I enjoyed it. I found some love in there, but the Like, it was what, like 1,000 plus pages.
Yeah, it
Um,
was. The publisher basically forced him to break it up into 3 novels, but yeah, pretty much.
there was a big book that they sold of it or something, I remember.
Yeah,
But
the one that I have is like 8 volumes.
yeah, it's huge.
Okay,
So, and I can't remember, it's been so long
7
ago,
volumes.
but
Yeah,
like there was I don't know if that was all of those put together or what, but it was like a 1,000 page
yeah, it
story.
probably was, because there's the appendices as well.
So I read that, and then I've watched the just those movies. Never watched the Hobbit movies. Never found any interest to want to watch
I've
them.
seen them, and they're not as good quality.
Yeah. So
if you didn't know what Lord of the Rings was, you might think, oh, these are okay, but
yeah. So to me, Rings of Power is. I saw the first episode with my wife. My wife is enjoying it. I just don't have any interest in it. Now, I'm going down the line and seeing some previews for the new episodes, and a lot of people are just saying it's starting to just fall apart. For a
which is bad because
budget
to do 5 seasons.
Yeah, for a budget, like I said, when big companies, I feel they get too, they get really really ambitious and money hungry and stuff, and they've spent a lot of money. They want to invest in that, and what Rings of Power has a really big budget. It's got like $1 billion?
Yeah, $1 billion. It's like,
it's a lot of money.
50 million per episode.
And they've spent money on defending their title. They're probably not just going to cancel it, but I don't think it's going to last up to 5 seasons.
Somebody call up Elon Musk. Is he a fan of Lord of the Rings? Maybe he can just like jump in.
No, and he's not the savior of everything. That's another topic I want to get into on RantCast. But anyway, yeah. So to me, it just feels like they're the things they're shoehorning into Rings of Power, I feel, are kind of not matching the Lord of the Rings feel. Like, they have things that do fit, but then for a budget that they're cramming into this show, some of the CG feels a little off. A lot of the character dynamic feels off. Like I said, there's things people are complaining about that to me, I'd say, I don't know why you're complaining about that. Was it Elrond is his name?
Yeah.
I feel like, the young Elrond looks weird, but like, I'm not going to complain all day about it.
Elf.
Yeah. But like I said, there are some things me and Kurgan would have a debate on, but like, it's one of those things where like, I just shrugged and said, okay, I guess it's 20-year-old Elrond, or what we would consider 20-year-old Elrond.
Yeah. He's only 1,000 years old.
Everybody changes over time, and the elves live a long time. So who am I to fucking judge who Elrond should be?
From what I hear, it's the same critique people had of like Grogu and the Mandalorian. It's like, oh, he's 50 years old and he's still a baby. Like, that's kind of silly.
Yeah, dude, you know, Yoda lived to almost 900 years old.
But it's like, oh, he matures the same way as a human would, but just stretched out over a longer period of time.
But he didn't. Like, so we just got into the chronology reading, what was it, yesterday? And it was describing Yoda reaching master status at like 100 or 200.
Yeah.
But like I said, Grogu can still be powerful and not be tall, like not be adult.
Yeah. Well, the stuff. So I think the first time we talked about the main problem a lot of people had with the show was Galadriel. They're saying, oh, she's too like running around fighting, and people pointed out, okay, in the History of Middle-earth, which was published decades after Tolkien's death, based on his notes, he does mention that she fights, but there's no details. So it's like, okay, well, all right, it's canon. You know, they have room to say, well, there was a note somewhere that allows it. And you do see her with, she wears an armored breastplate in the Peter Jackson movie. So it's like, okay, I guess.
Like I'm saying, like I don't. That's not the big problem.
Like a throwaway line of Han Solo saying, "Yeah, Chewie and I have gotten into lots of places more heavily guarded than this." Like, aha! So you make a whole series about him getting into heavily guarded, places.
Like, to me, it's like saying, like, because like Han Solo has always been kind of like a troubled individual, right? There's always been a point in time in his life where he's probably been a troubled individual. But you're taking one character dynamic and you're twisting it 180.
You're stereotyping the character.
Yeah,
like, and for all you know, there was a 20-year period where things were great, and then all of a sudden something.
And she could have been a warrior at one point in time in her life and been fine.
Thousands of years to develop.
You're making a character who's already a great philosopher, and I think you're making the character the one here, like the one hero what is it called in movies where so the hero dynamic
The
in
hero's journey.
movies, yeah, well, that and the fact that like they're the character that you're supposed to be focusing on in a battle or something like that, right? They're the hero that can do no wrong, the hero that stands above all else, right?
Yeah.
I don't find Galadriel to be that. I find her to be a strong woman dynamic. I find her to be a great stand-up character for diversity. I find her to be a lot of those things, but you're making your character all of the above.
Yeah. Well, people talk about, well, they don't want her to be the Mary Sue. They want her to
Like that. Okay,
earn. But
toss that though.
from what I've heard, though, it's like things don't always go right for her. People don't always work with her. So it's not
Right.
like, oh, she has everything and she didn't have to earn it.
But to narrow that down though
Mhm.
is your she was what, a B, not a B role. She was kind of like she was a philosopher in the
Yeah.
original movies,
She's a
right?
supporting character.
Right.
She narrates the beginning, but yeah, you don't see her until later. And then she disappears from the story until the end.
So to agree with a lot of people, I don't mind that she's fighting. I don't mind that she's like an aggressive character. I think people are focusing too much on the long run. Like,
Yeah.
her character just doesn't match what we're looking at now, and like whatever. But when you're, because like it's like when you're watching a movie and you're looking at how would I explain it? A character with long hair in a movie, and they go and they look back at their childhood, and they have another child actor with long hair. Oh no! Like you're saying, like, have you ever in your life had do you ever in your life have like the same haircut for 40 years?
No. I mean, when I was a little kid, I had long curly hair.
There are some people
Cut and then
there are some people who have the similar haircut. Like,
yeah.
I had a afro as a child. I literally had like a little curly like afro as a kid. Like, nobody would assume that.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah, they just
movies
as a
always
kid,
seem
they're
to
just a
grab the
stripped down
same.
version.
Yeah, it's like,
What
did you
can the
strip
audience
them down?
accept? Yeah. So
And
is it realism or? Well, you finish your thought, and then I have maybe a comparison to make.
yeah, so to finalize, I really think that a lot of companies are trying to include a diverse dynamic with the fact that a character can be different, and to me, that's not bad. I think a lot of people have a hard time accepting certain things, but at the same time, I don't think they're doing a great job of doing both at the same time. So I'm a little on board both with you and with the show, but with the fact the show has gone as far as it has and is now dive bombing, it's in itself, I don't think the show is going to be a great show at the end. That's just me. I've only seen a couple episodes all the way through. So, yeah,
I'm still curious. So I've only seen the first episode. I've read and listened to synopsises of all the others, but at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, this is not my only comparison, but The Rise of Skywalker. I told myself I'm never going to see this movie. Like, I don't care anymore about this trilogy. That was at the time it came out. And I had read everything. Like, I could almost rehearse the whole movie in my head. And at some point, it was just like, it's at the library. I can watch it. I'm really bored. I'm going to just watch it.
Congratulations. You could rehearse that whole movie. Man, I couldn't even remember what happened at the beginning. It moved so fast.
But when I watched it, I was like, everything that everyone said about this movie is true. Everything you've heard about it is true.
Everything you said about that was just
is wrong. Yeah. But I just had to laugh. And it was just like, I guess all of because unlike some of the other movies, I didn't go in thinking, oh, I'm really excited for this, or oh, this could be good. It was just, it's going to be crap, and it was, and it was just like, oh, okay, I'm fine. So I guess my expectations, rather than being lowered, they were just gone.
Man.
So with Lord of the Rings, I guess people have kind of prepared me to say, oh, you just have to just pretend you don't know anything and just try to enjoy it. And actually, I think that softens the blow, so to speak. But at the same time, like, I felt like I knew what I was getting, and I don't have a problem with the idea that I was just reading it the other day, and I forgot now what the term is. You're more of an anime guy than I am. There's some term that's used a lot for like a character that starts out kind of abrasive and then
Moe?
I don't know what it is.
I don't know. But
it's like you basically have an unlikable character, but they start to like soften and like reach out, because maybe they have a troubled past or they're angry about something, and like eventually they grow on the audience, and then they become a likable character. They open themselves up to like true friendship, or it's like you see growth. And so some people were saying, well, maybe that's what they're going for with the Galadriel character, and I don't know. I don't mind that. I guess to me the problem is it's maybe similar to episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Oh, we have a new Ribby. What's up?
Hey, Ribby,
How you
welcome
doing?
to the RantCast.
Also, Violet had stated
Yeah.
it should have just been one movie. Sorry. Go ahead and continue. Just
Yeah.
make sure we
So,
got
okay,
noticed.
in episode 1, The Phantom Menace, they gave us Anakin as a cute little kid who was like full of like joy and yippee, and and it wasn't his fault. I know that. But George Lucas wanted to go in a different direction rather than portraying him as the troubled youth, which we later got with Hayden Christensen in the other 2 movies. So I guess the problem, it's like both the strength and the weakness of the show. They want to hook us in by saying, oh, remember Galadriel, this character that you really loved? Well, here she is. She's the reason to watch the show. But then you watch her, she's a completely different character. So it's kind of like, why did you give us this character in the first place? If she's going to be something. So it's almost like it's just a different character.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to make her into the character, it's actually this problem has come up many times. So like Zack Snyder's Superman. He starts out, he's Superman, but he's like a jerk. He's like moping around. He's like confused about what he wants to do. He, isn't super, and everybody's like, well, this isn't I signed up to see Superman. It's like watching a Godzilla movie where he's not Godzilla. Like he's small and he doesn't have his atomic breath. You'd be like, what? And it wasn't quite that bad. It was like, what Zack Snyder wanted to do is say Superman gets his powers, but he doesn't mature into the role as Superman until 3 movies later.
And take the David Lynch route. Just watch the movie. You're not acceptable of my art.
Yeah, I'm just a pure artist. You just accept it. Yeah, so it's like if you're going to give people, Ric Flair, but he doesn't do any of the stuff. Sorry, he doesn't do any of the stuff that Ric Flair does. Like this is before he did the woo. Before he bled, before he wore the feathers. It's like at the very beginning of his career, and it's like by the end of this series, he's going to become Ric Flair. It's like, I guess there's a certain appeal to that, seeing him grow into the character that we know and love. But the hook is supposed to, you almost feel like you've been tricked. Like, on the marquee, it's like Superman, and then before he was Superman. So it's Galadriel before she's Galadriel. I mean, I guess if you forget who she is, she's just a character. She's just part of the supporting cast. So I don't know. I'll have to watch more of it to see, but probably the way it's going, I'm not going to see it until the season's over. And if it continues, I guess we'll see how it goes.
Indeed.
Yeah. But I guess they'll introduce characters. And I guess that's another thing people were confused about. Like, people are expecting the characters to be black and white, like pure evil or pure good. But instead they're like conflicted, or they act weird. They just kind of have mood swings back and forth. And I guess that's like a lot of TV shows, they do the swerve where it's like, oh yeah, this guy we can trust. He's on our side. And then all of a sudden, he's betrayed everyone. Oh no. And then in the next one you think, oh, he's bad, and swerve. Actually, he was working for the other guy. He was the mole the whole time. I knew it. It's like, what kind of a... And of course, professional wrestling infamously does the swerve, where it's like from one week to the next, just nothing makes sense anymore. It's like, wait a minute, why are you trusting that guy? He just betrayed you like 3 other times just in the last 6 months.
You mean it's like watching pro wrestling?
Yes, it is. But if they gave us enough action, then you could forgive it. Like, yeah, well, at least somebody's going through a table tonight, somebody's going to get their bell rung. So the backstage stuff makes no sense at all, but whatever. There's a fight and it's exciting.
At least somebody's going through a table.
Yeah.
Woo!
And from what I've heard, the battles in this new Lord of the Rings are still finding their footing. They're
they're
weird.
Very epic looking. I'm going to say that they're they're
Okay.
very epic look, like as in like
So people are just picking apart little scenes.
How do
where,
I-
like, the sword
what I say-
went too high and
well no
versus
like
ducked and
so how I was saying was like they I think that's where their budget is going. They know how to make a huge battle look huge. At least from the episode that I saw, I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
I was like, this, and that's what I'm saying. This doesn't feel like Like,
Peter Jackson's.
yeah, it's kind of, and like I said, that's where I admit that to me it feels off because I grew up watching those movies, and like when I watch this, it's like watching the new Star Wars, right? Between the prequels and the original trilogy, there were some pieces of those movies that you could pick out, and they felt similar because, of course, Lucas made those.
Like poetry. Yeah,
and even though like one was probably not as well done as the other,
yeah,
you just there was something about them.
mm-hmm.
These ones, they're shot in ultra wide angles, and they've got
they're not trying to copy.
They're very modern, and like of course they're going to be, but they feel beyond different. And when The Force Awakens came out, I was ready to accept that because to me I think they laid the groundwork okay with characters and stuff. A lot of people disagree with me, and that's okay. I think when we started getting into the next movie, the movie after, is when they started to crumble. And then it just feels like now Disney doesn't care about the quality, it's the quantity.
Yeah,
and it's just,
of the franchise.
Yeah, it's even
dilution of the lore.
It's the same with Marvel and everything else. They're just cranking out crap, and whatever you can find in the pile of shit that's suitable, then just you hang on to it. So like, there's gonna be 6 Star Wars games every half year or whatever they're saying. And it's like, what are you going to make? Microtransaction games? App games? Like, they say games, and everybody's like, oh, I'm so excited, but you don't know. They could be talking about crap like this on your phone, or they could be talking about, garbage on console that they're just chucking out, or, like, you never know. Like,
some formats are okay with that, churning stuff out, like comic books. I mean, you're a kid, you're 8 years old, you're reading comics, you read them for 10 years, you're done. The next kid picks it up, and it's like nothing. I mean, they have to keep churning them out month after month, and that's how it goes. But yeah, making a huge budget movie or a huge budget game, they're going to cut corners. They're going to give you the same game engine with like just a few things change, and throw in microtransactions to make up the cost that they're just losing money with all these constant. And then certain fans, I remember this happened with Star Trek like long ago, before, like back when Enterprise was going. Like, there were so many people online that were like, I don't care. Let's just get a fundraising campaign. Let's donate it to Paramount, so they'll just keep making Star Trek forever. It's like, but doesn't it suck? Like, don't you admit that it's like bad? Yeah. But just the idea, that ritual that people have, like every week I watch Star Trek and it's a new episode. And it doesn't even matter what it is. Like, it's just going. So do you really want Star Wars movies forever? Do you really want Marvel movies forever? Do you want HeroQuest expansions every year?
Like, well, like at a certain point, people could say that.
Returns.
Some people could really give you that answer and say yes.
Yes, I do.
Because right now, that's how they feel. But like I said,
nobody moves on. They just...
Well, now hold on. Things take a massive time to change I think massive changes happen in a decade. Now, imagine you're saying, okay, Josh, what do you mean? Or I don't think that's true. Look at, if you're my age or older, 30, because this is a question for people at least 25 or up. Because I'm going to say if you were like 13 or 3, you're probably not going to be able to answer this question. But what was life like in 2012 or 2009? Wording was different. Mannerisms were a little different. Our value for entertainment was just starting to evolve. Like, probably around to what it was now. Like, Marvel movies were just starting to be a big thing. We had Iron Man. We were getting to Iron Man 2. The Thor movies were big. Yeah. Star Wars had just been sold off to Disney about 10 years ago. 10 years ago, actually, in September. So 2012. Yeah. So things were just starting to change. And we've had a lot of big changes over the past 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years from then, 2002, not only did we have big changes in technology, but we had big changes in people.
Yeah.
So
culture,
I think things
technology.
take about a decade to fully kind of switch over, and you notice a little bit at a time. But nobody's going to want this crap forever.
Yeah.
And whether it takes 10 or 20 years, people are going to get really fucking sick of the Disney, Marvel, Star Wars every year.
Where's my vampire movies? I'm missing my vampire movies.
Yeah, well, like, and they've already re-released an interview with the vampire. Like, that's the thing is, I think
I think
that vampires
mean to make that connection, but it's true.
I think vampires are coming back again.
Zombies.
Yeah, we're gonna get zombies making another full circle.
I wanted the mummies.
Yeah, and well, they were trying to do that with the new Mummy reboot. They were gonna do like what would they call it?
Tom Cruise. It was gonna be the Monsterverse.
Yeah, it was like something like that.
Yeah. It failed.
And it really failed. It flopped because they didn't bring back Brendan Fraser.
It's Morbid time.
Even with his physique as it is, I would have done Brendan Fraser in a cowboy hat. That guy is a national treasure and deserves to be loved. No, oh yeah. Oh, I totally got clipped on that one. Anyway, I would have chosen Brendan Fraser no matter what he looked like.
Yeah. And I enjoyed those movies.
That guy has been through
Dragon Emperor.
Yeah, and like that guy's been through so much shit, and literally, I'm so glad that he's getting back on the up and up. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look him up. He literally got emotional when he got his award recently because he's starting to get back into the entertainment industry again. So
I remember it Encino Man.
And somebody like was talking to him through like a live session and told him how great he was, and he was just like, "Thank you, ma'am." Like he was so wholehearted. It was great, and it's one of those things where you see actors who have been on the up and up, and they have hit rock bottom, whether it was personal, like some sort of personal life issue or drugs or whatever. I mean. They get and they're able to climb back up again. They have the strength to fight through the years. Like Jim Carrey had it, Brendan Fraser's had it. I mean, those are really the big two that I can just grab off the top of my head. But there have been dozens, and it doesn't always happen. No. More often than not, they either fail and they're either gone for a while, or they're not here with us anymore.
Suicide.
And the back there, you're just like,
I'm just thinking of different examples. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It was just there was just like some comic tension there. But the
body exploded.
Yeah.
What? No.
Just like
some Elviler said should have been one movie. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And one thing with the Hobbit movies, like if you watch the extended versions and you watch the battle scenes, like it was always this way in the Peter Jackson movies, where when you have an army, it's a computer generated army. Like only the guys in front are real and the rest are CGI, and they're just randomly fighting. I mean, it looked good enough, but in the Hobbit, it's that much more obvious. It's like all these identical elves charge forward and all these identical dwarves, and it's just like, oh man, this really looks cheap compared to what we've experienced.
Well, yeah, because like even back
then,
they
set
like,
the bar so high.
You could kind of tell there was a lot of passion, and now like even with the current ones, like you said, they did a really good job, I think. But I think that's where their budget went.
I saw some of the clips. I saw some of the clips of like the orcs fighting. I forget. Is it the Numenorians have the white armor?
I don't know.
But they're all on their horses. And I felt like it almost looked like they took the same guy and gave him the same Halloween mask and the same clothes and like dressed him up to like fight another guy and get killed. And then they had him come back on, and like it was like all the orcs looked so close to one another, even though they were wearing rags. It was like a rag uniform, like it's torn in the same spot. Like maybe on
corners, we got to make sure that we get this out fast.
So it looked good, and they were probably trying to work fast, but it's just like all those flaws are. But it made me feel like I was watching a fan film that somebody really threw their passion into. But then when you think about the actual budget, you're like, ooh, what are they saving their money for? Like,
all right, and with that, we're gonna take a quick ad break because we're getting close to our ad time. So. We'll take about a 5-6 minute ad break. Well, not that you're not going to get ads for that long, but we're going to take I've been BRB. You'll get an ad in that time. We're about 2 minutes away from an ad. But for those of you who aren't subbed, might be back earlier. Who knows? But we usually take a break during the ad period. I'm not going to give you a spiel about subbing because you can use that money for donations to charity or whatever. St. Jude. the crisis in Ukraine. I'm going to mention that stuff. I don't have any links for it because I'm trying to get like a direct link or something posted through my channel. But if you'd like to, if you want to sub, that stuff goes to ours or to my stream. Or if you want to do that, it goes to his stream. Any of that stuff can be contributed, but I'd rather you take your money and you take it to Crisis for Ukraine or for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Any of those charities that you find more passionable.
Good cause. And shout out to Optimus Prime.
Oh yeah,
that was really cool what he did.
We're gonna be doing a new segment I've been doing, a shout out of the. It's gonna be called a shout out of the Rantcast. So we'll be doing our shout out every 2 weeks to people that we find really cool or that we want to give a shout out to. Not that you guys aren't really cool, all of you are really cool, but people who've gone above and beyond the Call of Duty. So
yeah, it's like you right there. You're the cool one.
So stay tuned.
Without the Shadow Legends.
Stay tuned, and we'll be doing stuff like that. We'll also be doing some reading.
Yep.
And
I got that too. More to come.
Maybe some more spoopy things coming your way. Stay tuned. More Rantcast is on the way. All right, folks. And we're back.
Everything that has gone wrong could have gone wrong.
For real, dude. This whole week has been bad.
We're still having fun here in the Rantcast.
Now I've just doxed you forever.
Yep.
Somebody's will look you up and be like, beard, sunglasses.
That's him. Get him.
Done. I mean, James. I mean, Jimothy. I mean, Jones.
Skip the do not read this book from beginning to end. You must follow the instructions on every page.
Is that what it says?
Choose from over 20 different endings. You are the star of this story.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to read that, but thanks for...
You can't... If you read the entire book, it's considered
cheating?
More than fair use.
Oh, okay. Oh, really? You actually get copyrighted for reading these?
Well, they don't go after... I don't know. There's a big complicated debate online about it. But I guess, like story time for kids at the local library is technically like not fair use, but they don't do it, so we're not so privileged. So
it's really funny because I think that's why they took off those storytime reading books on YouTube
because of COVID. Because they were sharing entire books.
Well, yeah, no, before then, because I used to have I used to put those on for my kids when they wouldn't let me read. There was a girl who had a really soft voice who would read what was it? A Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. Like I'm sorry,
okay.
But it's like
unless it's a public domain book.
And it's not. Yeah, like she got copyrighted like really hard and had to take her channel down.
Yeah.
I was like, over books? I was like,
yeah.
Really?
So I try to make a point of I will review the books that I read. I'll only read selections. I'll add my little flair here.
So we can't read the whole adventure.
But the thing about Choose Your Own Adventure, the great thing about it is you're not reading every page. You're just reading, like it's a different configuration every time.
So for fair use, we're doing a review of the Choose Your Own Adventure. Feel free to find a copy of this book while looking for it very, very, very hard at your local library.
Yep.
Because I don't know if they ever have any more of these books. But if they do, make a profit, corporate conglomerate.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's the other thing. They have like video games now that are based on them, so that's another reason they want to keep a tight grip.
So you can't read these anymore.
Yeah, you can't enjoy them. You can. You just have to enjoy it responsibly.
Now I'm happy I doxed you. I'm just kidding. Anyway.
See, okay, you need some more light?
No, I'm good. I just don't want to damage your book. All right. Are we ready, everybody? Are we ready? Are you ready, Kurgan?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Ever since you solved the Harlow Thrombey murder case, Your services as a private detective have been much in demand. Harlow Thrombey was one of the richest men in town, and it was a surprise when he called you in to help find who was plotting against his life. Unfortunately, Thrombey was murdered at the very night you began your investigation. His widow, Jane Thrombey, was a prime suspect, but you proved her innocence, and afterwards she continued to live in their huge Victorian house until she died of a heart attack a few months ago. You've enjoyed being a private detective, but lately you've been thinking about going into a new field. In fact, you've decided to become a ghost hunter. What got you interested was a magazine article on the subject. The author said the most cases a haunted house was once the scene of a murder. The author said in most cases a haunted house was once the scene of a murder. This fact tied in with some news you heard recently. After Jane Thrombey died a few months ago, a man named Howard Grimstone brought the Thrombey place. Neighbors say that strange things have been going on there. Lights on late at night, guard dogs patrolling the grounds, weird sounds coming from the house. The more you think about it, the more likely it seems that the ghost of Harlow Thrombey has come to haunt the house where Thrombey was murdered.
Do we have any spooky music to go with this, or is it scary or what?
I don't know. We should have some.
I'm getting spooked out already. Like, I don't know if I can handle it. If you see me walk out of the room, it's because...
I mean, I could just play my background.
That's what I should have done. I should have brought one of those like sound effects tapes where it has like the random squeaky, like wind blowing or rattle.
There we go. We'll play 80s horror music. Also, by the way, speaking of such, this music is by Karl Casey at White Bat Audio. Look him up. Karl Casey, White Bat Audio on YouTube. Credit goes to this guy. So if you see this on YouTube, this link is in chat. It's going to be, he does amazing stuff. All the way from synthwave to 80s horror. He'll find something that you like that you can put in your broadcast. It's non-copyright. It's royalty free. It's amazing. So give him a look.
Okay. Yeah, I should sub to him. He's got a lot of good stuff.
There's a lot of great stuff.
And I like it when people like allow their stuff to be used.
Especially, yeah, because you don't always need to profit off of everything you
Things
do.
are so strict nowadays. Small-time creators like this.
All right. Yeah, this is very heavy for what I'm about to read, but we'll go into it. You're gonna laugh.
Okay, now I just want to say that if you're a kid watching this, I hope you have your parents' permission or your legal guardian, because there may be some intense themes that may freak you out.
Wait, you have read this, haven't you?
No, but the Harlow Thrombey, and I was joking about spoilers because the title of the book is Who Killed Harlow Thrombey? It's like, well, of course. And it's like a running series, because usually Choose Your Own Adventure is just a one-off, but they actually have some recurring themes. So there were two other ones, which I think I read, and so this is, I guess, the third of the trilogy. So that's kind of cool.
Oh, okay.
So I have some ideas, but, I mean, this was back in the 80s, so I'm not going to know how they're going to swerve us this time. You open the door, and you're dead. And you're dead.
And you're dead. All right.
Sometimes that's how it goes.
Another thing in the article caught your eye. The article said that Professor Zybeck, who is supposed to be one of the world's leading authorities on ghosts, works at the Institute for Occult Studies only a few miles from where you live. The author did not seem to have a high opinion of Dr. Zybeck. However, in fact, he said this. Although Dr. Zybeck has interviewed hundreds of people who claim to have seen ghosts, he admits he has never seen a ghost himself. How can he be so sure, then, that ghosts really exist? Doesn't he know that people have a way of seeing what they want to see or what they are afraid of seeing? Dr. Zybeck's evidence for the existence of ghosts seems no more than convincing than all the so-called evidence for UFOs and ESP. You asked various people, if they know anything about Dr. Zybeck, or a neighbor of yours, Mrs. Wotc, tells you that she's known Dr. Zybeck for many years. Oh, I don't know whether these theories about ghosts are true or not, but I do know this, she says. He is an honest man. I'm assuming she's an old lady, so we're gonna go with that.
You have kids, though.
Yeah.
I can tell.
You wonder whether it would be useful to see Dr. Zybeck or not. I'm guessing these 4 are all the same, right? Yeah.
Kind of got to get back into the mindset of community.
Like, am I doing this now, or am I going to this page first?
Okay, so you just read that.
Just read this part, so... Oh, okay, never mind.
You
Yeah.
gotta read that.
So,
The bottom.
so Kurgan. I mean, I keep calling him. Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason. I mean, I don't care. My name is already out there. But,
Yeah.
if you decide to pay a call on Professor Zybeck, we'll continue to turn to page 4.
Don't say the page numbers.
Oh, okay.
No,
If
no,
you
no,
decide
no.
to start ghost hunting without delay, we'll continue there. So which one do you want to do? You want to call Professor Zybeck, or... Oh, see, no. See, it is all 4. We have to read page 3.
That's weird. Okay.
It is super weird.
I would to question the ways that you
Anyway.
run adventure.
Sorry, we're
They know
troubleshooting, folks. So, back home,
Yeah.
you think about what's happened. You've managed to lose a small fortune in diamonds that belong to an innocent woman who's asked for help. Your only consoling thought is that they are lying in the grass. Maybe. Is it?
No.
That does stop. So it is. It really is the 2 at this page.
See, the same thing happened to me when I was reading Star Wars 1. It looked like it was going to the next page, and then like, ha, just kidding.
Okay, so you really do have 2 choices. Sorry,
Yeah.
we're gonna cut that. Cut.
Cut.
If you decide to pay a call to Professor Zybeck, or you can decide to start ghost hunting without delay.
Wait a minute, is Zybeck the sarcastic guy, or is it the...
It's the guy they've been talking about.
Oh, the guy that they've been trashing as like a lunatic.
Yeah, and then you asked your neighbor, and she was like, well, I don't know, but he is an honest man.
Okay, choice time. So we got option 1.
Option 1 is to give a call to Professor Zybeck. Option 2 is to decide to start ghost hunting without delay, so you're just going to say, fuck Zybeck, I'm just going to go...
expert or forge off on your own.
Yeah.
See, he might be a complete charlatan.
He might be a complete lunatic, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess logically, well, the thing is, we've had prior adventures. We're not complete noobs at this. So he might be full of it, but we know what's real.
But he might have some experience on the case, you don't know.
Yeah. I think I'm inclined to go with option 1. But what does the chat think? Does anybody want to vote? Option 1, call the guy. Option 2, set off on a limb. I'm thinking 1.
I'll give it 30 seconds so we can keep pacing.
Yeah. Game books, story time. The thing you got to realize though is, and when I've done this, I've been like, come on, somebody make a choice, and like nobody says anything. That's because a lot of people just like to listen. They're not necessarily like at their keyboard. So.
Oh, and that's the point, is that when
we will make a choice.
When we've done Rantcast, it's mostly just for people who are lurking on their phones, and that's the point of this. So I don't expect people to
So yeah, don't feel like we're putting pressure on you. If you want to say something in the chat, and like there was that one time when Jacer, I think it was, he like made the choice, and then like I wasn't paying attention, and so I just made the choice, and it was like I lost, and it's like he would have saved it. I was like, oh man, should have been. So if we missed you, sorry about that. You're a little late. Delay.
Okay, so
I'm thinking call the guy.
You're gonna call Zybeck? Alright.
Let's call Zybeck, and if that's wrong, you can just scream at your screen on the bot.
You're sitting at your desk thinking about how you might begin your work as a ghost hunter. Wait, did I pick the right one? Oh, oops. Stupid. Because we were talking so much. Never mind. Anyway, within the hour, you knock on the door of Professor Zybeck's office at the Institute. A moment later, you were greeted by a tall, slim man wearing a tweed vest and polka dot bow tie. He ushers you into a tiny office which is made even smaller by huge stacks of books piled up against the walls. Sit down and make yourself comfortable. The professor taps out the ashes of his pipe and stuffs in some tobacco, but evidently deciding you might not want to sit in a room full of smoke, he lays the pipe down on his already cluttered desk. What can I do for you? I'm sorry, but I have to go to a meeting, and I only have a few minutes. Well, you say, clearing your throat, I've read that you've done a lot of research on ghosts. I thought maybe you could give me a few tips. That looks nothing like Sean Connery. I'm thinking he might have been like...
He sounds just like
Barrio Humvee.
all the dog Indiana.
Tips? The professor frowns. Well, it's a very complicated subject. Not one that boils down to a few tips. That being said, I will tell you this. Number 1. Ghosts exist, but they normally don't exist in a way that we are aware of their existence. It's turning German.
Is the Pierre of Hearts a ghost?
So most of the time, it doesn't matter whether they exist or not. I don't quite follow, you start to say, but the professor interrupts you with an upraised finger. I'm not surprised you can't follow. It's a very complicated, as I say. But what I say next, you can follow. Number 2, ghosts don't hurt people. You are more likely to be hurt if you run from a ghost than if you go toward it. The professor takes a gold watch out of his pocket and looks at it. Oops, I am very late. As he gets to his feet and grabs his jacket from the coat stand, excuse me, he waves his pipe at you. Goodbye. I wish you luck. Good day.
If anybody sees a face in that window, be sure to alert us in the chat. Anyway, continue. It is getting close to Halloween. I mean, a kid could be like...
Oh. I mean, I don't care.
Just scream.
I'm gonna block it off before the end of the week. Keep the sun from coming in.
Just put two little eye holes there.
You'll be making me all paranoid, bro.
Yeah.
Alright.
Got a shadow of a knife.
Tink, tink, tink. Before you can even thank the professor, he's out the door. You glance around the cluttered little office a moment and then head for home, thinking about what he said. That evening, you're sitting at your desk, still wondering what to do. You've just decided to call the police and tell them everything. Wait, what?
Look at the...
Oh, turn to page 11. Good God! See, I'm not used to... No, I'm just not used to doing these yet. So you have to help me a little bit.
Even though Choose Your Own Adventure is kind of like considered the OG of these, they don't always lay it out perfectly for you unless
That's right.
you're used to it.
So, anyway, you're sitting at your desk thinking about how you might begin your work as a ghost hunter when the phone rings. It's your old friend Jenny Mudge. That's quite a coincidence. Jenny, who is also a private detective, helped you solve the Harlow Thrombey murder case. How are things? You ask. Jenny replies in her usual lively voice. Very fine. I've stopped being a private detective and decided to become a ghost hunter. That's amazing, you say. Great minds think alike. I was just about to see if I can find out whether Harlow Thrombey's ghost has returned to haunt his old house. Could be, Jenny replies. But I've learned of a house that, by all reports, is definitely haunted. It's just a little way out of town, the Gray Mansion. It's been empty for a long time. The place is so haunted, weird, cursed, wherever you want to call it, or whatever you want to call it, that no one will go near it. I called you to see if you'd like to go out there with me this Saturday.
It's a date.
So, option one, you decide to go or to join with Jenny, or option two, you decide to hunt for Harlow Thrombey's ghost instead.
I'm not really remembering what we thought of her character in previous stories. I'm inclined to keep an eye on her because otherwise she's gonna probably solve the case out from under us. It sometimes happens, you get these rivalries.
Oh, is she? Is she trying to take your thunder?
I think it's
Or there was
your
no...
enemies closer.
So she's not a team player then, huh?
I don't know. That's just kind of my gut reaction. So our two options are work with her or...
Yep, you can join Jenny or hunt for Haro Thromby's ghost instead. What?
Hey.
Wolf, thanks for the raid. Welcome, everybody. We are doing
Game books.
interactive game books. And the crappy camera is on purpose for aesthetic reasons. So welcome to Spooky Rantcast.
I can read for a little bit if you want.
What's going on, Wolf? No, it's okay, man.
Straight off between books.
So what I'll do here is I'll have you choose the option, and then we'll have the chat interact if they'd like
chat. You guys are welcome to put forth your suggestion. Vote for your. It's not an official vote. Just put it in the chat. Let us know what you think we ought to do, so we can veto your.
So
let's do what we need to do. Okay, so the options are choose.
Option 1 is you can decide to join Jenny. Option 2, you can decide to hunt for Haro Thromby's ghost instead.
See, they keep giving us opportunities. They're like, okay, you're choosing your party, or you can just set off on your own. Thanks for the raid. That's great.
Yeah.
My personal thought is, let's keep this Jenny in sight.
So you're going to join her?
We got to vote for join Jenny. Thanks. Okay,
all
so
right.
someone else agrees with me. See?
All right, so we'll join Jenny then.
These rival ghost hunters. Because then I could just picture the story like, oh yeah, you did all this work and nothing, and hey, I solved the case. It's like,
All right, here we go. When you arrive at Jenny's house on Saturday, she greets you excitedly. The gray mansion is still empty, she says. Well, then what are we waiting for? You reply. Nothing now that I found my flashlight, Jenny answers. There is a light drizzle falling from the sky. There's a light drizzle falling, and the sky has an oppressive, lean look when you reach the top of a hill and look up at the huge Tudor house. Its turrets lean, and its porches sag from the decades of neglect. The massive front door is bolted shut, but halfway around the house you find an unlocked door that leads to a butler's pantry. You've hardly reached the somber, musty hallway when you hear a wailing, moaning sound that rises and falls in pitch over and over. This way, Jenny says, her voice a little shaky.
Master Wolf, or Master Northern, whatever. What's his name?
Master Northern Wolf.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He says it's about the journey we shared with everyone along the way.
Indeed.
It is.
You follow her into a large room with massive oak tables and chests, and chairs covered with dark brown leather. Your eyes fix on the great stone fireplace.
It's dark enough with sunglasses.
The wailing sound is louder now, and it's coming straight from the fireplace.
Oh.
Maybe it's only the wind, you say. Jenny clutches your arm tightly. The wind never sounds like that. Then I guess it's a ghost. Jenny places her mouth close to your ear. If we're gonna trap it, we have to surround it. One of us must go up onto the roof and shine the flashlight down the chimney while the other watches the fireplace.
Here's where you ASM is.
How can we get up on the roof? I noticed the upstairs porch on the left side of the house, Jenny answers. It wouldn't be hard to swing onto the roof from there. Do you want to try, or shall I? Option 1, if you say you'll go up onto the roof, or option 2, if you decide to stay by the chimney. So vote. Option 1, you'll go to the roof. Option 2, you'll stay by the chimney. We got roof from Wolf. What about you there, Kurgan?
Because I was going to jump in and say, well, why does this got to do the stereotypical man thing? However, in these stories, you are the star. So you might be a man, you might be a woman, you might be a alien from Mars. You don't know. So I guess it's equal opportunity. I can see, this is a Choose Your Own Adventure book. I can totally see you falling off and breaking your neck and your story ending.
Something is always in the chimney.
Yeah. So if you go up, oh man, I just don't know.
All right.
Yeah, let's chat. Convince me. So we got one vote for the roof.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Let's do the roof.
41 it is. 41. Trying to be gentle on your books. Well, here goes that.
Another one for the fire.
Oh. Okay.
All too hot.
Leaving Jenny to watch the fireplace, you climb the broad central staircase. In the second floor hall, you find a door leading to an upstairs porch. You are able to pivot around the corner post of the porch, railing out onto the roof. Though you have a good tread on your sneakers, and the roof is not steeply pitched, the slate shingles are wet and slippery, and you have to work your way up with great care. You're beginning to feel more afraid of falling than of coming face to face with a ghost. About halfway up the chimney, you pass the attic window. Looking into it, you see a face, a pale gray face with a twisted shadow of a mouth and great hollow eyes. Instinctively, you rear back, only a few inches, but enough to lose your balance. Desperately, you drop to your hands, your knees, to try to get traction onto the roof, but it's too late. You're falling, tumbling, head over heels, over the edge. Crack! Your neck twists as your head hits hard on the ground.
Dead?
I'm pretty sure you're dead.
Ain't I'm dead.
You're dead. Dead as far as any human would say. But you aren't dead from your standpoint, because you can feel yourself floating, drifting into a house, passing like television waves through walls and doors and floors, your image invisible, floating and not always silent.
What an idiot.
but like a sometimes moaning, sometimes howling wind that whips through trees, rattles windows, and sends shafts of air past flickering candles. Your presence hovers through time, then it moves and is felt. Live people, solid people walk, run, and stumble. One gasps, another screams, terror in their eyes, their chests tight, panting, gripped by the fear. The ghost that haunt them is you. The end.
Oh man. It's like in Temple of Doom, it's like, I go before you, the greatest adventure Dr. Jones. Well, at least you can haunt that girl and for convincing you to take man.
Or Jenny's just waiting by the fireplace.
Rumor has it she's still waiting.
Still waiting.
Alright, well, so that was Ghost Hunter.
Yep. We'll play till death. So we can pick one more book. You want to do the book that you wanted to do?
Yeah. It's as great as I remember.
So what if we stayed by the chimney? Aha!
Well, you got the whole month of Spooktober. What'd you call it? Spooktober.
Call it Pooptober.
Spooktober. Because it's like so many things were going wrong and just like Midnight at Monster Mansion.
So well, these are like before we had games that allowed you to choose your actions.
See,
they had these books.
This reminds me though of so many like classic choose your own adventure books.
And we're pretty much just going till death. So if you had stayed by the chimney, you probably would have lived.
They're telling kids, hey, don't take crazy risks. You're gonna get killed. Had these back in the day. Yeah. I
remember when they first started doing these in text adventure games on the PC.
Yeah.
I had a couple of them on
cool.
DOS.
And some kids would cheat. You know, you put your finger there and it's like, oh, you see the words "the end," so you get back. But yeah, you'd read it like a dozen times, and then sometimes you'd go back and you'd purposely take the silly choice just to see what it would be. 20 possible endings. So that was one. So I don't know. That was pretty good. I think I'd like to track down the Ghost Hunter like prequels, Who Killed Harlow Thrombey, and then whatever the other one was called, just to kind of like get back into it. Okay, twist of plot. Midnight at Monster Mansion. So yeah, I was really thrilled because this was like when I was in elementary school. It was like we had this book order thing, so they pass out this little catalog and you could order.
Who killed Harambe? No, Harambe.
Go through that meme again. Oh man. Yep. Anyway, yeah. So it's like they have you order books, and so like this was one of the first ones I ordered. It was this and the Golden Sword of Dragonlock, and I love these. I just read them so.
Yeah, the book order catalog.
Yeah. It had some name. I forget. It was like
Captain Underpants.
All right.
I had all those books.
Captain Soiled Underpants. It's so scary. All right, and we begin. What a great vacation! You've been visiting some friends who have a summer house at the beach. Now you're driving home in your father's new sports car, which he finally agreed to lend you for the trip. It's a long drive, and you decide to try a shortcut on the back road. Bad decision. Soon you're hopelessly lost.
Uh-oh.
You look for a place to stop and ask directions. There isn't a house or building in sight. That's not your only problem. You've been listening to the radio when you should have been paying attention to the gas gauge. The needle's on empty. Will you make it to a gas station before you run out? Your chances don't look good. All at once you hear a deep rumble in the sky. You look up and see storm clouds gathering overhead. That's all you need. To be stranded in the middle of nowhere is bad enough, but in the thunderstorm, you begin to wish you'd stayed on the main highway. Better to get home an hour late than not get there at all, you think to yourself. But first the raindrops hit the car roof. As the first raindrops hit the car roof. Okay. I think we're getting some like spooky lighting happening. You're just trying to freak me out here.
Were you freaking out, or was it like it was hard to read?
This is like when we were doing HeroQuest and I was like doing the Undertaker lights. Well, I could still read. See read. Suddenly, you see a house up ahead, on the right. The house on the right. There's a large ramshackle mansion, not on the left, set on a small hill. The house is dark and gloomy and looks about 100 years old. It reminds you of a house you saw in a horror movie in the Late Late Show last week. A flash of lightning crackles above the mansion, bathing the old house in an eerie glow. You feel cold shivers run down your spine. You don't like the idea of going up to that house. You also don't want to spend the night in your father's car during a thunderstorm. If someone is home at the house, you can ask to use the phone and call a gas station for help. Then again, if there's one house, maybe you'll pass more houses, ones that look less creepy. That is, if you don't run out of gas first. What are you going to do? You better make up your mind quickly. The driveway to the mansion is coming up fast. So, decision time. Option 1, decide to keep going and take your chances on the road. Option 2, choose to stop and see if anyone is home. Well, this is one I kind of remember, so should we keep on driving or should we stop at the spooky house?
Keep in mind you don't see any other houses in sight.
Gas gauge is almost empty.
You're like running on fumes right now, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Someone else pick? Okay. I'm gonna stop at the house.
Okay.
Because I think I know what you keep driving means.
Yeah, you've seen Rocky Horror Picture Show. Alright. And you're dead. No, just kidding. You drive up the long, twisting driveway. The house looks even creepier up close. Oh, I read that twice. Sorry. The worn shutters are all closed, but you could see light downstairs. Someone must be home. You park the car and carefully lock it. Your father would kill you if anything happened to it. Slowly, you walk up the front porch steps. They squeak noisily under your feet. You feel the courage draining away, but you raise your fist and rap loudly on the door. There's a long silence. You knock again. You can hear your heart beating wildly under the noise of the rain and thunder. Finally, you hear footsteps approaching. The door swings open and a short, stocky man in a butler's uniform stands before you. He is unshaven. His hair is long and scraggly. You can't help but notice he has a hunchback. He looks you up and down with beady brown eyes. "Well," he says in a low, gruff voice, "it's about time you got here." You take a step back, startled. This butler is obviously mistaking you for someone else. Don't stand there, fool! He exclaims impatiently. Come in, the master is waiting. The master looks anything like his servant. You could do without meeting him. It's cold and damp out there in the rain. Behind the butler, you can see a warm, inviting fire. Should you accept the invitation or run for your car and take your chances on the road ahead? Alright, decision time. Go into the house. Option 1. Option 2, return to your car.
Well, if it were me, I'd probably take my chances on the road, but...
Since you're an adventure man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because there's really no houses in sight and you're on fumes. Yeah, I'd go inside.
Splendid.
Wolf, you got anything to say?
Let's picture this Igor-looking guy at the door.
Welcome. The master is waiting for you inside.
Yeah. There's several different possibilities there.
No.
I decided to make him into a pirate. Ah, there you be. We've been waiting for you. Hurry up, will ya? Don't want to be responsible. Enter date. Alright. So what do you think? Want to go in?
Yep, let's go in.
Give the hunchback your brightest, bravest smile and step inside. The main hall is filled with heavy, old-fashioned furniture.
Do that real quick. Do that, guys.
He's scared.
I am.
Yep. He's gonna go change and we'll keep on going. The main hall is filled with heavy, old-fashioned furniture. You notice cobwebs everywhere. But the fire is warm, and that's the important thing. Wait here, says the hunchback, closing the door. In a moment, a tall, distinguished-looking gentleman in a black cape and evening clothes enters with a servant. Ah, he says in a thick foreign accent. You're here at last. I trust your drive wasn't too difficult. I am Dr. Alucard, and this is my servant, Igor. Igor, it figures. Right out of that old horror movie. And Alucard, that name sounds familiar too. Please, take off your jacket, and I will bring you to the patient at once. We have no time to lose, Alucard says. Patient? You thought he was the doctor. Not that he looks like one. Maybe it's time you told these people just who you really are before you get yourself into deep trouble. Of course, they may throw you back out in the storm if you do. Alright, decision time. Might need to lower music a tiny bit. Okay, I'm just kind of afraid to mess with his setup here. Let me just see if we can do that. Yeah, decision time. Option 1, decide to set this Alucard character straight right now. Option 2, decide to play along a little while longer. Let's get our music. Probably gonna have to wait till he comes back. Oh, they're just saying the music's too loud.
Oh, here, I'll edit it. Sorry.
Yeah, so we've got option 1. Tell Alucard that who you really are. Option 2, play along a little while longer. Dr. Alucard. It's like, great, you're here. I'm gonna take you to see the patient.
Yeah, you might just have to play along.
He says play along.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that, because if you tell him who you really are, you might get stabbed.
Have you read this before? Alright, we'll play along a little while longer. You decide to keep your true identity a secret for a little while longer and follow Dr. Alucard. Well, here it is. It started going on the bling this afternoon. Hasn't been the same since. Dr. Alucard is pointing to a large television set. The TV is the patient, and you have been mistaken for a television repairman. Alucard begins to eye you suspiciously for the first time. You can fix it, can't you? He asks. Sure, you say. You're in this too deep to tell the truth now. You turn on the set, trying to act as professional as possible. Look at the colors, says Alucard. Aren't they a bit odd? Stare at the small screen. The bright colors are swirling up around like the colored bits of glass in a kaleidoscope. Red's the color of blood, vivid greens, disturbing dark blues. Round and round the colors go, hypnotizing. You feel your will being sucked right out of your body. You want to tear your eyes away from the diabolical patterns, but you can't. Out of the corner of your eye, you spy an ashtray. Okay, decision time. Option 1, continue to watch the set. Option 2, grab the ashtray and smash the screen.
Smash the screen.
All right, thinking option 2. Anybody in the chat want to chime in? Keep watching the TV set with its weird patterns.
Come on, folks.
Smash. We got a good group in here.
Yeah, we got people in here. Howard Jr.
Hope you're not too scared. Got
a couple bots in here, but
yeah, bots scare me.
Video
Creep me out.
Was there something in the window?
Oh, I'll have to watch it on the VOD. There's all these like weird shadows moving behind us. It's like...
Well,
all right.
Go ahead and smash it.
Smash it.
Smash it.
Okay, grab the ashtray, smash the screen. You seize the ashtray in your trembling hand and raise it. But before you can hurl it at the evil screen, the colors disappear, and an unearthly glow fills the tube. The screen... Man, this is horrible. The screen sends out blinding rays of light that freeze you in mid-motion. Every muscle in your body is paralyzed. Your raised hand quivers, and you drop the ashtray against your will. With horror, you feel your whole body be drawn toward the glowing screen. A terrible, tingling sensation comes over you. You want to scream, but you can't move your mouth. You feel as if every molecule in your body is disintegrating. Suddenly, you open your eyes. You see Alucard and Igor, standing several feet away, staring down at you. Their bodies are strangely distorted, as if you were looking at them through a mirror or a piece of warped glass. Alucard moves toward you. His hand reaches down for the off button on the TV set. Only then do you realize why everything looks so strange. You're inside the television set. As Alucard pushes the button, the entire universe goes black. You're a prisoner inside the television, trapped forever looking out at reality. Happy viewing. The end.
We can never win. We're just done. Whoa. Oh, Junior, thanks for the sub.
Hey.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Now, speaking of subs, we're about 3 minutes from our ad break, and for those of you who have subbed, I really appreciate it. It's not needed. It helps towards the streams. I do appreciate it a lot, but for those of you who aren't subbed, who are thinking of it, because I don't have a charity linked, and I didn't do one for my event, I'm going to advise that you guys take that towards a charity. Pick a charity of your choice. For mine, I usually do like the Epilepsy Foundation because I'm an epileptic. You pick St. Jude. There's a crisis going on in Ukraine. Lots of people are without homes, food, shelter, lots of stuff going on in this world. A little goes a long way. So as much as giving money to me is great, and it helps the streams, it does. Because this is aesthetic. I have a better camera than this.
Yeah. He's not doing this for sympathy.
No.
We're scared.
I really appreciate it. It goes towards... There are charities that we can find that don't just take cash for themselves, or places where we can put that towards helping each other. Yeah. So that's all.
That's a new thing on Twitch, the charity links.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm a relatively new streamer, and I'm kind of still figuring that stuff out. But before we go into our ad and take our quick BRB, that was a great send-off, or a great time to end that, by the way. Because
I have so much nostalgia for this particular book. Like, I don't even care that we lost. Like, I love all of it. And I didn't quite remember what was the right choice in that one, so I was just going right along with it.
But yeah, but how
did Monster Mansion? Stephen Otfinoski. Did a great job.
Yep. But before we go ahead and do our BRB, because we'll take a quick BRB to use the restroom, get everything done that we need to get done, and join you guys back. But thank you once again, Howard Jr. 2000. Thanks for subbing. I appreciate it very much. I really do. And I appreciate everybody who's hopped along just to lurk or spend time with me, because really at the end of the day, 118 followers is something I never thought I'd get to. So
Yeah, congratulations.
I'm just going to keep saying that because I never thought I'd get to 50. But, you know, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever, no matter what happens, I'll still be talking to myself at a camera. We'll be right back, guys. Don't go away. More RantCast is happening. Or Spookcast. Probably didn't catch any of that. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. We're in our final section of the RantCast.
Good.
And if you're just tuning in, I'm Josh, also known as the Strange Bus. My co-host here, Kurgan. Make sure to get that right. Also known as HeroQuest Fans. And we are going to be doing probably some more spooky, scary stories, huh?
We just get another sub?
Did we? No.
Oh,
That's the same sub.
Yeah. Well, thanks. That guy's cool.
So, rolling with the spooky, low-frame, crappy camera aesthetic.
I can't recommend this book enough. Midnight at Monster Mansion. If you find it, twist the plot.
They can totally see it from there.
Yeah,
There you go.
That's a little better. That's a little easier. It's not Choose Your Own Adventure. It's Twist the Plot.
I'll take this one. Is this the one that we just read? No, this one.
That's what we just read.
Alright, what other one do you recommend?
I'm thinking Horrors of the Haunted Museum.
Okay.
I read the last one, so you want to take another turn, or you want me to do this one?
Yeah, I can read it. I mean, we got time for one more
Unless you're scared.
spooky, scary story, and then we can do one topic about Andor. Ugh.
Or
That leaves a wacky taste in my mouth every time I gotta put some M&Ms in my mouth.
I have not seen Andor, so I can't say anything about it other than the trailer. Oh yeah, shout out to
Oh yeah, we gotta do our shout out segment. Here we go.
yeah.
There will be this will be updated, but we're doing what's called the shout out of the week, or the 2 weeks. Anyway, shout out to the RantCast. We're giving our personal shout out, both me and Kurgan, to Optimus Prime, and you can catch him at this right here.
Optimus.
Yeah, hopefully it works. And I'm not like completely like not spelling his name right.
Yeah, it's not like the Transformer. It's slightly...
I mean, I believe he's like, it's like a thing on Optimus Prime, but oh yeah, there you go. It's check out Optimus Prime. He was last stopped at the back rooms, or inside the back rooms, but it's twitch.tv/Optimus_Prime.
Check him out.
Yeah, I've actually watched some of his stuff, followed him, and he does a really good job. Very, very professional. So I want to thank him for, once again, he gave me a pretty decent raid and complimented me. So I just wanted to give him my personal thanks.
Raids are fun.
So keep doing what you're doing, Optimus Prime. Keep being awesome. Keep showing the love for your chat, and for the love of God, wash your fucking hands. Because I absolutely love what that saying he uses. It's amazing. So
I'll check him out.
yeah. But anyway, that's our personal shout out. Do you have a personal shout out you want to give somebody?
I want to shout out Luke and Nick V, who brought us this book.
Oh,
I'm just looking at the the one person wrote their name neatly in there, and the other person crossed it out and wrote their name below it. So these are game books that I've gotten on auctions. There were some big lots on eBay. I got a big pile of them. Some of them I remember from childhood, some I've never read, but it's always exciting to just jump in and get a little slice of somebody else's life, you know? And now it's ours, so.
all mine.
So, Horrors of the Haunted Museum.
Yes, it's all mine. Mine.
Stampy. Yeah, alright. You're gonna go for this one?
Yep.
Alright, here you go. Enjoy.
Sorry.
Rantcast.
Oh, yeah.
See, we do more on the Rantcast than just complain about entertainment. There's good stuff too.
Well,
and
holidays are going to be real special because we're going to be doing
we
fun
celebrate.
shit.
We like to celebrate. This is one of my favorite times of the year. I mean, it's Christmas, Halloween. Those are my holidays.
This and Christmas, so it's kind of reversed for me, but yes, definitely.
I mean, it's different when you're a kid, but when you're a parent, when you're an uncle, you get fun stuff.
Ooh.
You okay there?
I don't know. Ooh. Got very dark in here.
It's the power trying to come back.
I don't know. Whoa. my lame attempts at humor.
Oh, that was a joke. So it's funny. I'm supposed to laugh.
Yeah, you're supposed to laugh.
Okay. You amuse me or
Like laugh.
Get my shoe shine box?
Me and you, we're done professional.
Oh, good for you. Shout out to Christian Bale, one of the greats.
Great pain in the ass. Anyway.
Oh, keep yourself safe. He did apologize, but we still enjoy
So if I walk up to a guy that like I mildly know as an acquaintance and punch him in the nose or break his nose, and then come back to him about an hour later and go, look man, I'm sorry, I was just upset. Do I get a free pass?
Here, let me just get your nose in. There, see, it's fixed.
Yeah, it's just... Here, let's go out to lunch sometime. Talk about it.
We're professional.
We're professional, yeah. Alright, beware. Do not read this book
Let's get that part.
from beginning to end.
Okay.
Well, obviously I needed to read it before because I almost
Fair
read the
enough.
book.
I didn't want to say anything.
Alright, here we go. We're going to get this started. Our rules are, when we die, it's permadeath. So, horrors at the Haunted Museum. Let's get started.
We might read it on a future stream.
Yeah.
Some of these I definitely want to dive back into, but some of these it's the first time us ever reading it. So
This one has kind of a weird, unless the other choice is on the next page. This one's only going to give you one choice.
well, that's how the Star Wars book was like, and then continue on to the next page, and then the next page, and then it's like, well, do I get to make a choice anywhere? And it's like, oh, finally.
Well, okay, here, I'll read it. Okay, anyway. Did I skip the page? No, I didn't. Oh, it just... Now pay your admission and enter the museum. Oh, you actually do have to read this. Okay.
See, they tricked you.
Okay, so... You're about to spend a long and frightening evening, or frightening night at the City Historical Museum. Everyone knows that this creepy old place is rumored to be haunted. Haunted by mummies, by ghouls, by ghostly spirits that prowl its dark rooms when the sun goes down. By spending a night in this museum of mystery, you hope to find out whether the rumors are true. Unfortunately, you just may find out more than you wish to know.
We're just doing this to try to like make ourselves brave because it's actually really scary.
That was like almost perfect. Anyway, I gotta put myself back together because I broke there for a minute.
Stay in character.
As you make your way through the museum's darkened rooms, you will make your own decisions. You will choose your own paths by following the instructions at the bottom of each page. If you make the right moves, you will have many adventures to tell your friends about the next morning. If you make the wrong moves, you will soon discover why this book is called Horrors of the Haunted Museum. Now pay your admission and enter the museum. You're not serious about spending the night in this place, are you? Your friend Mike asks. Of course I'm serious, you reply, leaning against the totem pole in the far corner of the American Indian room. Kelly and Derek both dared us, and we accepted. We can't chicken out now.
It's like a young Tom Cruise. Anyway.
Mike rests his elbows at the top of a glass case that contains an authentic model of an Indian pueblo. But you don't believe all that garbage about this museum being haunted, about the mummy coming to life every night, and neither do I. So what's the point? He asks. You've read this before.
Great.
The point is, they dared us, you say. The bell rings. At the signal that the museum is closing. The museum guard pokes his head into the American Indian room, but he doesn't see you or Mike. The point is, I don't care. I'm going home, Mike says. Maybe you're a little scared after all, you suggest. Mike waves a fist at you in pretend anger. The bell rings again. You hear the footsteps on the marble floor of the last people leaving the museum. The two of you continue to argue. Your mind is made up. You're spending the night in the museum. Will you be able to convince Mike to stay with you? And that's the only decision you get. Turn to page 12.
What is it, chicken?
Chicken shit?
Never gonna be able to move this down, man.
I'm gonna make fun of you so bad at school, bro.
You jerk you are. Peer pressure.
It's a dumb idea. We'll only get into trouble, Mike says, starting to walk toward the exit. What about our parents? We took care of that, you remind him.
Whoa.
They're dead in the bathtub.
This went from like 0
like,
to 11.
You don't remember the acid I bought earlier this afternoon? Like,
very deep, man. Now can't turn back.
Can't turn back. Anyways,
No, seriously.
you said you were staying over at my house, and I said I was staying over at your house. Another museum guard passes by, but he doesn't see the two of you in the far corner. Outside the room's only window, you see the sun has almost set. The museum grows silent. The silence is complete. I'm sorry, Mike says, but I just don't want to do this. I'm not chicken or anything. I just want to go home and have supper. See ya. He walks quickly toward the main hall.
Chicken. Or maybe turkey.
Chicken pot pie. He walks toward the main hall and the exit. You start to go after him, but you change your mind. Okay, fine, you tell yourself. I'll stay here without him. You listen to his footsteps clicking on the cold floors, fading into the distance. The lights in the room dim, the air conditioner shuts off. You stand and wait for your eyes to adjust to the darkness. A few minutes go by. What a story this will be to tell. Just about everyone you know has talked about spending the night in this creepy place, but you are actually doing it. Hey, wait a minute. What are those footsteps? They're getting louder. They're definitely coming your way. Slow. Slow. Footsteps. Who could be walking so slowly? So quietly? Should you turn and run? Or should you wait and see who approaches? Option 1, you choose to run. Option 2, you see to see who's coming.
Guessing it's probably security. So if you stay, you'll be discovered.
Yeah, you probably should run.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with run. Anybody disagree?
I think we're good. We'll allow you to do this one.
Alright. And you're dead.
And you're dead.
Twist the clock.
Let's take another call. Alright. The slow. Slow footsteps are coming nearer. Your heart's pounding in your chest. Whoever it is has entered the American Indian room. Whoever it is must know that someone is in this room. You turn to run and... or wham, if my noise canceling took that off. You run headfirst into a glass display case. Ow. You never knew glass was so hard. You sit down until you stop seeing stars. It is too late to run now. You have no choice but to face whoever or whatever is pursuing you. You've never known true terror before, but you're pretty sure that's what you're feeling now. Your arms and legs are shaking so badly, you're not sure you can get them to move. The footsteps come closer. Closer. Who is it? It can't be the night watchman. He'd be carrying a flashlight. Perhaps the stories about this old museum are true. Perhaps the mummy really does walk the floors at night. Perhaps... Hi, it's me, Mike says. I'm back. The door was already locked. I couldn't get out. I had a hard time finding you in the dark. I had to walk really slow so I wouldn't bump into anything. Hey, are you alright? Fine, you say. I'm fine. You wait a few seconds for your heart to stop pounding. Guess we're in this thing together now. Just the two of us, you say finally. Uh-oh, Mike says, suddenly grabbing your arm. I think it's the three of us. Sure enough, there are new footsteps clicking on the marble floor. Those footsteps are approaching quickly. Stay calm. Stay calm. You whisper to Mike. Stay calm. Stop repeating yourself. Stop repeating yourself, Mike whispers. Have you gone nuts or something? There's no time for discussion, you whisper. We've got to get out of here. Good thinking, Mike whispers. The footsteps are in the same room as you. Has someone heard the two of you? Or is someone making his ghostly rounds in his nightly search for human victims? Staying close together so that you can see each other, you and Mike run into the back hallway. Two rooms stand in front of you. To escape the approaching footsteps, you must duck into the Egyptian mummy room or the Caribbean pirates room, savvy. Quick, make your choice. Option 1, the mummy room. Option 2, the pirates room.
Heard of ghost pirates, and the mummy is what we're thinking about here too. So either way, we're toast. We're history, man.
We're history. Game over, man.
Game over. I mean, the mummy is kind of the star of the show. If we go to the pirate room, maybe we can grab a weapon or something to fend off the pursuer. Not like it would do much good against a supernatural foe. Arr, let's go with the pirates.
Pirates?
Over to the Black Pearl display.
You run through the doorway into the Caribbean pirates room. In the dim light, you can make out a life-sized pirate ship that you've seen many times before. Standing in the bow of the ship is a mannequin of a pirate captain wearing a long-handled saber at his waist and a black eye patch over one eye. I don't hear the footsteps anymore, you say to Mike, as you look around the familiar museum room. I think we lost him, whoever it was. Hey, look at this pirate captain, Mike says, a little louder than you'd wish. They fixed him up, remember? He was all beat up and his clothes were torn the last time we were here. Come aboard, mateys, a gravelly voice says suddenly. You look up to see the pirate captain beckoning down to you from his place in the ship. Come aboard sprightly now. Old Johnny's poison been expecting ye. You don't know what to do. Do you take your chances aboard the pirate ship with Captain Johnny Poison? Or do you turn down his invitation and try to run away from this mannequin come to life? Option 1, go aboard. Or option 2, run.
Now, if this were really happening, I'd probably run. But think strategically. If we've got an ally in here, maybe we should go with him.
Maybe we should join the pirate? Yeah.
I mean, maybe he's gonna kill
Fight
us,
off the mummies with you?
Why would he be doing that?
Be like, Robin Williams in the Night Museum? You get old Teddy Roosevelt with you?
I haven't seen it, but I'll take your word for it.
Okay.
All
So,
right.
are we joining him?
I think we're gonna join him.
Page 8.
Pirate.
Don't stand there bejabbering if ye know what's best for ye, the pirate captain calls. You are so stunned that this mannequin has come to life that you follow the pirate's instructions. You and Mike walk up to the gangplank of the model ship, and before you know it, you are standing on the deck facing what seems to be a living 18th century pirate. Allow me to introduce myself to ye, the captain says with a small bow. I be Captain Johnny Poison, sailing these many years under the proud flag of the Jolly Roger. How do? You manage to blurt out. Not well, me hearty, not well, he replies, scratching his stubble of a beard. I be landlocked here. Can't get a wind to fill me sails. A windless sky means a lonely life for Captain Johnny. Gosh, that's too bad, you say. You stare at this character from 2 centuries ago and ask yourself, can this really be happening? There's nothing we can do to help, Mike says. I'd be thinking twice before you utter these words, lad, the pirate says, his face squinting into an evil frown. He pulls out his broadsword and holds it up to your throat. You'll help me, or face me blade. Without thinking, you reach your hand over... Wait, do I? Yeah, okay. Reach your hand over to the captain's table and pick up another sword that is lying there. You take a step back and raise your sword to fight. Wait! Mike cries. Don't fight! We'll help you, Captain Johnny. We'll do something. Has Mike lost his mind? What can you possibly do to help this pirate? You must decide what to do. Fight him so you can get off this mysterious ship, or agree to help him and then pray that you can think of something. Option 1, choose to fight. Option 2, agree to help him.
I feel like going deeper down the rabbit hole. Let's try to help him. Okay. I mean, fighting him would be cool, but I think the last time I tried to fight somebody in one of the books, I just got easily slaughtered.
I mean, he's probably got more sword experience than you do, so...
He'd have championed 3 years in a row.
Whoa.
He doesn't know that.
Wait a second. We can help you, you say, putting down the sword. Sure we can. Right, Mike? Right, Mike says, without hesitating. Okay, I'll spare ye, Captain Johnny says. Pity a poor old sea dog who has to call on the likes of you for the two to help. Let's see now, you say, looking around the ship, stalling for time. Let's have a look down below. You try to look at the below cabins, but there aren't any. This is only a model ship. After all, it was only built for show. It isn't really a complete seaworthy ship. As you look around, you quickly realize that Captain Johnny is all alone, the only crewman on this vessel. Doesn't the poor guy realize he's in a museum? Mike asks. The two of you don't know what you can do to help the ghostly captain, and he is beginning to realize it. "Then Johnny's gonna have to feed ye to the shark, the swabs," he cries angrily. "Which one of ye is volunteering to walk the plank first?" Walk the plank? What can you do now? Keep stalling? Or walk the plank and figure you'll end... Oof, God, I'm getting tongue-tied. Or walk the plank and figure you'll end up back on the museum floor where you can run for it.
Real.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, I was thinking as soon as we met him, like, sucked him to a time vortex or something, but only he's real. So we could just, like, oh no, don't make us walk the plank, and we're just back in the museum, we're fine.
So, option 1 is choose to stall. Option 2, choose to walk the plank.
Unless this is one of those situations where the longer you humor him, the more real he gets. You know, sometimes that's the thing with fantasy, so maybe stalling is not the right choice. Anybody have any ideas in the chat? Shell have an idea?
I think she's lurking.
I don't know. I'm thinking walk the plank.
You gonna walk the plank?
Normally that'd be the wrong choice, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. Seems like this guy's kind of a dead end. We just need to get out of here.
All right.
Take our chances with the mummy.
So walking the plank.
Plank.
I like reading and doing the voices, even though I probably suck at the voices.
I don't see anybody else doing it. Actually, I take some of that back. Covert Nerd Lee, he's done the Choose Your Own Adventures before. Not the only ones. There's probably other people out there.
Oh, you might be right here, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. Let him have his fun, you tell Mike. We'll walk the plank and end up back in the museum room where we started. "Get moving, the two of ye," Captain Johnny barks, pressing the tip of his sword in your back. "You two fakers will soon be ending up as food for the fish." "Right. We're going, you say, unable to hide your smile. You and Mike confidently walk off the plank. Splash! Uh-oh. Things have not gone exactly as you planned. You are struggling to stay afloat, battling the ocean waves. You swim away from the pirate ship. Captain Johnny's angry oaths fading from your ears. "Where's the museum?" Mike asks. "Where are we?" "Good questions," you reply, swallowing water as a wave spills over your head. "Hey, what's that up ahead?" "It's another ship," Mike says. "It looks exactly like that replica of an old whaling ship. You know, the one that's in the next room." You swim over to it. Sure enough, it's that very whaler. Sailors drop a line down to you and pull you up. Wet and cold from the sea, a sailor hands you blankets and sailor uniforms. I'm actually kind of getting invested.
Yeah, I can almost taste this seawater.
Suddenly you hear a voice cry out, "Whale on the starboard! Whale on the starboard!" The entire ship swings into action. The harpoons are manned, nets are dropped. "This is exciting," you say to Mike. "And look at those great uniforms." "This scene seems very familiar to me," Mike says, raising a harpoon as if to toss it at the whale. "It's just like the display in the museum." "Put down that harpoon," you tell him, raising part of a giant net. "You're scaring me." I can't put it down," he replies, suddenly frightened. I can't move." "Here, I'll help," you say, "but you can't move either." You stand holding the net, staring out to sea, staring past Mike with his harpoon. The next day, the museum isn't very crowded. A few people come by the whaling ship display in the late afternoon, but no one notices the 2 new sailors who've been added to the display. And no one but you realizes that this adventure in the haunted museum has come to an end. Wow. I really thought I was going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
They really tricked you.
They definitely trick you.
Wow, that was pretty cool.
So let's see.
I only realized it about halfway down, too, because I was like, well, you can't move? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, you're getting faded into the museum.
Right. So we've gotten trapped inside a TV. We've gotten trapped inside... Well, I guess in the first one we actually died.
You actually made it a lot farther.
Ghostly realm. Yeah.
Did you know what you were doing?
No.
No.
Well, because I was thinking... The problem is I have so many memories of other books.
Polsky.
Hey,
Hello.
Polsky. The problem with these books is you can never... Like, there may be an internal logic to the book, but you can't go by past experiences and say, well, in this other book, when I did the choice, it was something. Because this author is making up his own rules.
Mm-hmm.
So, we thought we were going to fool the pirate. I thought once the splash, it was like, oh, we're dead. But then we get saved, and yeah. It's a cool ending, though. Even though we got stuck.
I can't move.
In the museum. We'll just have to wait till the next night and try again.
Indeed.
Yeah, welcome, Polsky. We've been doing some spooky game book reading. We're doing our usual RantCast.
Keep it on in the window.
Yeah. Yeah, if anybody sees like a face appear in that window or something like ghostly or something, be sure to clip that out and give us both heart attacks.
Alright, guys. Well, what's next? No, not the books, because I don't think we have time for another book.
We got a whole stack. I got a whole library of them. We could do this for days.
We can do... Got 17 minutes. We can give maybe... Well, we can probably say the Andor discussion for... Because I can probably give you guys a simplified...
Yeah, what do you think? What have you seen of...
I've seen 2 episodes of Andor, and it was slow.
Did they release a whole bunch of them at once?
Well, no, they do an episode like every Wednesday or something, I think. But somebody said it got better after the 4th or something. I can't remember. It got better after the first couple episodes. And I looked at Star Wars Theory's opinion on it because he loves everything. What?
Question. So when people tell you that, like, do you take their advice and just like skip to the episode they say when it starts getting good? You always like to start from the beginning.
Because if something's slow, sometimes it's building something. Like
slow burn.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you always want to make sure that, because their opinion is great, it's a good placeholder.
Star Wars Theory.
But you might have, yes, and that's what I'm saying. It's like Star Wars Theory is good, but that guy now gets paid to tell you that stuff is good now. And like, I don't feel like he's selling out. I just feel like that guy has been a true believer of Star Wars forever and ever, and so I feel like he's biased. So people who love everything about it I meet Star Wars with a neutral ground now. Like, I'm not a guy who's going to tell you all the sequel movies are bad all the time. I don't like them, but I can meet somebody on the ground who likes them and try to view it from their perspective. I'm also a guy who can do that same thing with any other movie or something like that. The only thing I probably have a hard time with is somebody who can literally look at me and say, "Oh, The Rise of Skywalker was a great film." Like, a great film. And I'll be like, okay, well, then you're going to have to sit down, we're going to have to watch it, and you're going to have to explain to me what parts were a great film, and then we're going to go back, you and me, and we're going to watch the other films, and we're going to do a compare and contrast.
That's a great movie, then.
Yeah, I mean, because I could tell you if you liked it, you could say, I liked this film, but to me, putting something in the great film genre, you're setting other movies aside. Yeah. And I feel like that's painful to hear. So,
I think in the grand scheme of things, for me, it's possible for me to be entertained by something. But I mean, like, I'm entertained by like Manos: The Hands of Fate, just because it's so terrible from beginning to end. So that's entertaining, but it's not a great film.
Like, would you say Army of Darkness is a great film?
I would say Army of Darkness is an okay film.
Okay, see, I'd say that too.
I think Evil Dead 2 is awesome. But I know a lot of people prefer the first one. I'm also
biased, so I love Army of Darkness. So That's the thing. It's like, so
I
when
have
you're
nostalgic feelings about it.
yeah, well, I've loved it forever. So
Yeah. But I could sit down and watch it now and just enjoy it.
so that's kind of where I'm coming from there. But as far as Andor goes, I've heard it gets better, and I'm surprised at what they can do with that character. What they've done to show.
Can I say one thing?
What?
I feel like there are Star Wars fans, just like there's other genre fans. Like I was just listening to a podcast for Lord of the Rings. There's people who are so dedicated. Like there's purists who are like, no, you can't mess with my lore at all. But there's other people that they will always try to find the good in it. So those people will say, okay, fine. Rise of Skywalker, it's an official part of Star Wars. I have to find a way to fit it into the universe. They'll like look for things to say good things about. But you're not that way. Right?
No.
At a certain point, you'll cut it off and say, "This isn't."
Well, if I can still watch it and like say that's like part of the canon, it's hard for me to watch.
Yeah.
It's like when you
like the Phantom Menace. Like George, I know you made this movie.
I can't bring myself to click on Andor,
but
look. So
it's not as good as your other ones.
I'm not interested, right? But it's not hard to watch. It's I can watch it while lying down and falling asleep. I can tell you that
best nap I ever took.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's one of those things where I'm not interested in casting Andor. That's the thing. But the character who plays him does a wonderful job.
You mean the actor?
Yeah, the actor. Sorry. The actor who plays him, it's getting late.
Yeah,
the actor who plays him does a wonderful job. Okay. And the scenes, the environment, the storytelling is fine. Like, it's fine to actually good. And they have like an Imperial Secret Service in there that isn't really a Secret Service. It's like they just mop up like secret rebellions and stuff. And
are they better than the Inquisitors?
I mean, they're pretty much this. So what they're trying to say is the Empire's had like separate factions all over to try to help make sure the Empire has a very clean image, which to me is kind of cool because I feel like that stuff like that happens in the real world, except for it's not as dramatic. Like we had the Inquisitors who were assassins that would hunt down the Jedi, and they made themselves public. Yeah. They were like the Imperial's fist. Same thing as like, I don't know if Vader's fist is still technically canon or not, but like the 501st was classified as that. So they were the military presence, as the Inquisitors were the people that came by, and they were the people you really didn't want to mess with. They were professional in public, but they were like assholes when they weren't on camera or something like that. The Secret Service were the people who did the same thing. They were they were never on camera. And they were there just to mop up the mess. It's one of those things. I'm seeing it. It's one of those things where I feel like they're telling a story about a character I feel doesn't really need to be told about in the media, in this medium. Like, they could write a book on Andor, this whole book that could be told in less money.
Yeah, or a video game. I mean, you're talking about Kyle Katarn, and I mean, we're big fans of Kyle Katarn. So yeah, having like him being basically cut out of the story. Because on the other hand, would you want a Kyle Katarn in this story? Because wouldn't they just ruin him? They wouldn't do him justice. Because he'd have. I
mean, I don't care anymore. It's one of those things. It's like what you said.
If the show is doing bad, they'll bring him in. Episodes.
Like I don't. It's not going to be the same because, like I said, Rogue One took over Kyle's main storyline.
Yeah.
But I guess they could still include him with like things like the Valley and stuff like that. Like I said, you missed the chronology of how the Valley was born and stuff. Yeah, that was the Battle of Rusan, and that was it was an amazing story because the Mandalorians, I believe, was it the Mandalorians who killed? See, now I'm gonna have to go back to my chronology book, but it was Rusan was pretty much it was the Jedi. The Jedi Sith had a battle on this world, and a lot of them were all extinguished. Almost all of them were killed except for Bane, and that planet Rusan
force bomb killed everybody.
Yeah, it kept all those spirits there.
Get another comment.
And my whole thing, so 30 years worth of content was noped. Okay, so it was noped, but they are taking that content. My thing from that is I agree with you, but it's it's they're not just noping it. They said it wasn't. They were like an 8-year-old at the playground. They said, nope, doesn't exist, but I'm gonna pick parts out that I want to exist.
Yeah.
And we're getting into what the big part there is it's no longer, then it becomes no longer why erase it and why not just pick parts of the you know,
this is Star Wars in a nutshell.
So
nothing you liked before is canon, but we're gonna
until we decide again that it's
pick
canon.
it apart and we're gonna tell it in a less satisfying way.
But I feel like they did that to be safe. Like I said, it's all safe. Everything has training wheels on it. So, here's my final thing on that, right? Because I've said this before in previous rantcasts. I'm with you, Polsky. I'm with that side, okay? I'm always going to turn to Legends before I'll turn to the new stuff, right? But I really can't sit and swim in on one side of the pool for the rest of my life, because Star Wars is something, and like I said, it's not that I'm saying that nobody else enjoys it. Like, you're on that same field where you're kind of dull with anything new.
Yeah.
And you're even more dull than I am, because you won't even watch the prequels that often. So
I own them, but I mean, I haven't watched them in a long time.
It's one of those things where I cannot stay on one side of the pool of my whole life. If something new comes out, if I'm interested in it, I'm going to watch it. If it's a book, I'm going to read it. If it's a game, I'm going to play it. I will never be as happy with it, probably, but, Fallen Order was great. And probably the best thing I could say that's come out of Disney Star Wars ever. That's
high praise. I'm with Star Wars. I'm with a lot of things. I go by recommendations.
Yeah.
And I try to take recommendations with a grain of salt, because, like I said, I know that there are Star Wars fans who are holding on to hope. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, there's got to be something good in this new thing. And there's other people who are just like, yeah,
I still have those books. Like,
yeah, I feel like there's so much out there. I'd rather spend my time on something that I enjoy. And yeah, it's true. You don't know you'll enjoy it until you look at it.
And
but there's only so many hours in the day. I can't read every book, watch every show, watch every movie.
If I still recall, that area of the timeline is still technically blank, right?
Yeah.
Where
the final episode will be like, all right, here you go, Kyle Katarn. Be sure you deliver these plans.
I'm talking about where the Uzong Vong area is technically still blank, isn't it?
Oh, he's talking about the new Jedi Order.
Yeah, that's still technically a blank slate right now.
Happening during Mandalorian?
No, because barely. Like, the Mandalorian's right after Return of the Jedi. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, there's a 30-year gap between Return of the Jedi and the sequel trilogy.
This is another problem. Because with Star Wars, they do all this gap filling. Okay, right after this, then this other thing happens. Right after this, right between these two movies, this other thing is happening. And then they go back and they're like, yeah, and we'll fill in those gaps with something else.
They could have sworn it was like,
rather than
like 25 years
Jedi, where it's like, yeah, thousands of years before everything happened. Which is what Lord of the Rings is doing. You won't intrude in the timeline.
But either way, man, I've always told people that Star Wars is what you make of it, right?
I can set aside... See, this is what I have to do when I watch the prequels. And it was the same thing I did with the sequels. When I was watching it, I just pretended I didn't know that stuff. Because otherwise I'm spending the whole time trying to cram it in my mind and say, oh, that makes sense. That could have happened. Rather than, wait a minute, that contradicts everything. Yeah,
but I think that I think that people that do that they think that's way too hard. They're thinking way too hard on that.
I mean, think about
see, I don't have to. See, I can't keep all that shit in my head. Look how long the Legends timeline is, man.
It's ridiculous, pages and pages. So when I read King Arthur, I just take it at face value. I don't try to imagine all the other King Arthur stories and how does this fit into it. I just think this is a new interpretation of it. I'm just gonna enjoy it. And at the end, I'll compare it. Say, well, I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as this other version. And, it's Batman, Superman. But Star Wars is still so new. I mean, it's only been...
almost 50 years old.
The 70s. Well, yeah, okay. So it's a little bit older than I am. But there haven't been a whole lot of Star Wars adaptations.
Yeah, so you're kind of right there,
Star Wars has been remade 3 or 4 times, then it's like, okay, sure, here's a new director's take on it. Great, let's go with it.
So wait, what was
They got us to care about all this stuff, and then they're telling us don't care about it.
What was the books called for the Yuzan Vong again?
New Jedi Order.
Just New Jedi Order? Yeah.
NJO hero. This is the
Vector Prime was 25 years.
This is the series that I gave no chance at all. Like when people told me the synopsis, I was like, "That sounds stupid. I don't care." But then a lot of people consider that to be like the highlight of their enjoyment.
But you like hate everything.
I hate everything. So, but I hate that. Well, see, I didn't even give it a chance.
Well, it started 25 years and went like all the way into darkness.
See, I get burned out on franchises very quickly, whereas I think you give it a little bit more chances.
Yeah, see, I'm just gonna say that because it's so close cut. Because I thought there was a 30-year gap between here and the sequel trilogy, and if it's 25 and 30 years, like I thought they were like legit cutting it like year for year. Disney was like between Return of the Jedi and.
So Luke is 50 years old when they.
I thought he was.
Adventures.
Like I said, man, if he's like anything younger, he's not doing it.
Up.
Yeah, so
this makes sense.
Like I said, that's how little I give a shit. Is because like I just thought it was gonna be like 30 plus years because the actors look old enough, and you know, what was it? Anakin looks or not? Ben looks old enough to be in his 30s almost. So
and when I was reading the books like more or less as they were released start. So I was reading them out of order because they don't necessarily take place chronologically. But I think by the time it got to the end, New Jedi Order, I was moved on to other things.
See, now you got me looking
at
up
if
all
you were
this
one of the
shit.
people that invested in all that, like I don't blame you for being annoyed when they decide to go in a different direction that maybe wasn't as cool. But I took it that the New Jedi Order's point was to try to get away from the usual recycling of rebels versus Imperials over and over again. It's like, well, what if there's an external threat? What if there's aliens that are totally different than anything they fought before?
40 years after RHJ. Yeah, see, so for me, like, to me, in my head, the Uzan Vong, there's a gap there still. Even with the Mandalorian, even there, like, and you can't fit it.
Supposed to be protected guys.
Yeah, you can't fit it, like, in there technically, but
it's a big galaxy.
I can separate it, you know. It's because I don't care enough about the sequel trilogy to die on that hill.
Yeah.
But
if I treat the Disney Star Wars as just another.
Yeah, man. No. I'm
just another story.
I get what you're saying. That's what I'm saying is like, but the thing is that the differences to me between the timelines aren't
because I think we're still seeing it as a canon. We're seeing it as all this stuff really happened in the same universe, rather than these are different alternative views of the same, characters and world and everything. So if somebody writes a book and Darth Vader seems totally different than we're used to, like, that's okay because it's its own thing. Versus just saying, oh yeah, he just went a little crazy there and everybody forgot about it.
But like, my point is that, like I said, I'm with you on it. My deal is I don't die on the hill with it, right? Like, I will always pick the legend stuff before I go to any of the new stuff, right?
Just because it's come first.
Yeah,
it got its foot in the door first.
I just can't. I don't care enough about the new stuff. I don't and cannot. It was the same thing when the prequels happened, right? The prequels happened. I liked them. I was a kid when they were released, though.
A lot of people were mad, though.
And a lot of people like wanted to die on that hill. Like they were dead set. Like, fuck this shit.
That's not how the Clone Wars happened.
Yeah, and like there was a book about it a little bit, I think. And like I could not do it.
I think by the time the prequels, episode 1 kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But I think by the time episode 2 came out, I was fed up enough with the expanded universe as I had seen it to give it a chance. And so I kind of was one of those people that were just like, yeah, sure, whatever. That stuff didn't happen. Let's just focus on these new movies. But yeah, with the sequel trilogy, I'm kind of going back to the EU again. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should read those Timothy Zahn books again, or I should read the ones that I never gave a chance and check those out. Which is like a lot of things. You know, a franchise annoys you, go back to the old stuff that everybody seems to like.
And don't get me wrong, Polsky, I'm okay with that. Like I said, we've had this talk before. I'm good with that, man.
This is not that you're not a true fan unless you agree with me kind of crap.
No, I'm... Like, this discussion goes just to Andor, man. But as far as I was talking about mixing trilogies, right? Or talking with somebody about like the new stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I remain on that neutral ground because, like, you know, it's just how I've always been. I've grew up with people who hated the prequel trilogies and had to deal with that stuff. And like I said, it's the same with you, right? Yeah. But they're like, when the Clone Wars came out, no, indeed, yeah. But I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to feel like I'm saying anybody's super wrong in any way. But there's like I said, there's the because I want to get this back on track so we can end the stream.
Yeah, Star Wars fans are not a monolith.
It's the thing that if you, there is so much shit out there for Star Wars that if like the sequel trilogy is not your bag, then man, we have so much else to talk about because like I said, I am with you on the Legends trilogy.
Yeah.
And the Legends stuff.
The idea that to
I
be
am
a fan,
way too tired to have that conversation.
The idea that to be a fan, you have to like whatever they're putting out right now, I think to me is just wrong. Like, this is not a cult, you know?
Yeah.
It's a franchise that's grown and grown so big over all these years. There's enough stuff out there that if you want to find something, you can probably find something.
But I don't hate you for dying on that hill, man. And I don't, as far as bygones being bygones, I don't find there anything to be bygones about because if like you want to be on that hill, then by God, do it, because at the end of the day, there's so much else we can relate to.
Yeah.
And you don't feel like a toxic person to me. We've always had good conversations about Star Wars, so you're not that guy who's like, the only thing you've ever told me is I refuse to watch the sequel trilogy. Oh man. you haven't lived.
Until you've suffered like the rest of us. Well, there's people out there that only like the first Star Wars movie and that's it. And I used to, like, back when I was more of a hardcore like fanboy, like I was like, how can you say that? Don't you know he intended a trilogy and 12 movies? Now I'm just like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
go for it. You like only the first movie? I can respect that. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it is a good movie. Yeah. And refuse to watch it again. Yeah, so like I said, you've already watched it once.
Why
I can still count on one hand how many times I've seen Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi, and I'm still the guy who has the shirt. So
cool shirt.
I've seen The Last Jedi 3 times. I've seen The Rise of Skywalker twice. I've seen Force Awakens 5 times. Still one hand.
I think I've seen Rise of Skywalker once. I've seen Last Jedi once. Force Awakens twice. I think I've seen all the other Disney ones twice.
But that's
for Solo.
That's enough for some dude to tell me I have not watched enough of it. Say yes, I have.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, I watched Manos: The Hands of Fate 150 times, and it's starting to grow on. It's like, dude, no. Like, I've actually seen Manos: The Hands of Fate.
It's like, hey, have you watched your DirecTV manual video a bunch of times? Like, yeah, it starts to grow on you.
Like, eventually, if there's nothing else, you'll find something to like. But I'd rather watch something that I enjoy.
So,
I only got so much time to enjoy that stuff. Well.
And there are enough legend stuff to get involved with, and like I said, the chronology breaks all that down. So if you don't want to watch every book, you don't want to play every game, it's all broken down. It's all really nicely told. I think it is anyway. And the Disney stuff is a sloppy mess right now.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to get any better.
Do you think people that don't know anything about the expanded universe who just go right to the Disney stuff, do you think that ignorance is bliss?
No, that's how it's going to happen. It's not all of it's not all bad. It's just not all good. Like I said, so mediocre. Like if you grow up with diamonds, right?
Yeah.
And then everybody who has the diamonds moves over. They start getting old. The new kids are gonna grow up with whatever they get handed before. And if they give you like a rusty ball, I mean that's all you know.
Yeah.
Then next to the rusty ball is a pile of shit. Then I mean, yeah, you're gonna pick the rusty ball. But you know, I mean, you're not gonna have the pile of shit until that's all you have. So I feel like every generation seems to have the worst of it, but there are good things in there. Like, so there are talented directors and writers and people that get involved in that, but it's the fact that we always have corporate meddling and stuff like that, and it's really bad.
They've re-edited, like when you hear a lot of it, we don't even know, but yeah, it's like, oh yeah, they edited this to hell, they fired everybody and redid it, they cut like so much stuff, and
thank you, Bolsky.
The amount of money that they've blown on these Disney Star Wars is just crazy, and if we knew the half of it, I think we'd probably short circuit.
Yeah, like if you saw Revenge of the Sith has a really nice breakdown of that fight, just that fight scene between Anakin and Obi-Wan, that really 5-minute fight scene. It was like how long it took every editor, every visual effects person from Industrial Light and Magic, all the way down to the craft food table people. They broke everything down on that DVD, and like I said, you know, it was
enjoy those. I mean, because you could say that they always make it sound like, oh, everything was great. We were just a big happy family.
Well, so it wasn't just like the actors that made it. It was like they included everybody, and you know, it was down to like the script writing, the concept.
That guy worked hard on sound.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And like you saw their desks, you saw everything they were working. So like just the people like you and me who'd go into like the office and stuff, who'd sit there and do the work, that they contributed to that. So,
they all got paid whether we liked it.
I agree with that scene in Obi-Wan. Which scene in Obi-Wan? I'm talking about the Revenge of the Sith thing. Are you talking about like the...
I don't want to hear anything more about Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Well, how many when I've seen something sequel of like Mando was average. Obi-Wan.
I only saw the first.
Oh, so you liked you liked the Kenobi, like the Kenobi thing? See, I'm kind of like, I liked The Mandalorian. It was okay. The Book of Boba Fett was mediocre to me because it just seemed like they were asking a lot out of an old man. So instead of like cutting it down to like him writing something and then like having some guy in a helmet do it, like take his place, and like having a cool action adventure with a little bit of like dialogue, they decided to have him sleep in a bacta tank a million times, and then the Mando took over. So it was a very weird. It was still fun, but it was really weird. And then
I have a mixed history with Boba Fett because I feel like, I mean, he was purposely built up from the beginning to be this.
You have a right to be mixed up because they completely replaced him.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's like they basically built up in everyone's mind
2.5.
He's the greatest guy ever, and then when it's time to deliver it, they bungle it, and it's like, what were they expecting to happen?
Like, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, who's the guy who plays the clones and stuff now? What's his name?
Tamora Morrison.
Yes. So Tamora Morrison's getting up there now. He's no longer in his 40s or 50s. The guy is like now almost 70 years old.
He's not
a spring chicken, and like so the stuff they had him do was like little to nothing, and that's fine. Like I said, the stuff they built up was cool. It's it just, to me, it was just, I don't know. It's just weird at times. Like, I feel like they had a good time telling a story, which was great. The speeders were a little weird. The speeder gang that he hired, I felt was kind of like a shoehorned thing. I feel like somebody high up wrote something and was like, you need to include this. Because they had like weird 50s like convertible speeders or something like that.
So they're trying to like say, oh, we're being like Lucas by having like
50s. I don't know. They just looked
graffiti.
Yeah, and they looked weird.
I didn't see this. I just heard people talk about it.
The design styles for the characters were weird, and it wasn't the fact that it wasn't out of there. It was the fact that it was just the fact that nothing about it matched the Tatooine like environment. Nothing about it matched anything. They were just like they had their own design, their own thing. It was 100% was a shoehorn thing for different people.
Interesting.
So I don't know how to better say that. Well,
more than Kenobi, when you had like
I'll say it.
The Inquisitors come in, they got their nice, clean clothes. And...
No, it was a diversity shoehorn, I think.
Oh.
And I hate to say that politically because I don't really like a lot of political talk here, but not just for the fact that I feel like people should keep their mouths shut. It's the fact that I like to welcome everybody, and the fact that if you want to include that, we should include it into something different other than the Star Wars talk. That's the only reason. So, but if it's honest and true, yes, it was a diversity shoehorn.
There's a good way to do it, and there's a clumsy.
There is a good way to do it. Like I said, I will give you examples of movies. If you give me about 10 minutes, because my mind is fried, you give me 10 minutes, I'll give you examples for movies that do a really good way of making really great women heroes, diversity heroes, stuff like that, without shoehorning them. And I love them all. Like Prey is a great example of having a diversity hero, because not only is it a woman protagonist, but it is Cherokee? It's Cherokee. I love Native American culture. I'm a huge fan of Native American culture, and there is a version of Prey that is done all in Cherokee. So they don't do the whole movie in English. They do the whole movie in Cherokee. No. And it's amazing. So it would fit more if Boba Fett was like on Nar Shaddaa or something. Find them first and then bring them to Tatooine. Yeah, see, so that's what it felt like. Like the speeders and stuff, they were all different bright colors. They were like red, blue, green, like yellow.
Hot rod cars.
Yeah, they were hot rod colors. And the people that were there, they were like outcasts and we don't take no and blah blah blah. And like they had like their head shaven on one side and their coats were outlandish and bright and like, but you're on Tatooine.
Yeah.
The outcasts are poor. They're disheveled. They look beaten.
Why do you have punks and greasers and
And if they're a greaser on Tatooine,
they're rebelling against a conformity of like an upper class culture. It's like, no, this Tatooine is not like
but
that.
I can't tell Kathleen Kennedy what to do. She tells me what to do.
Everybody's beaten down and they're like living off the land.
She tells me when I'm wanted. She tells me what to like.
So you're watching an old western.
Bitch can go to hell.
And you're watching an old western. They're working on the field and the farms, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of guys on horses wearing like super brightly colorful things, going acting weird, and their hair's all crazy. It's like, really? Would they really be rebelling against that kind of culture? So yeah, it's just
yes, it's true. Like I said, there are speeder bike gangs in every version of Star Wars that are all the same thing, and there's a reason for it. It's the fact that Tatooine is a bland planet. You're gonna pick Tatooine, you're gonna pick something that's not diverse.
Like you said, Nar Shaddaa would
have been great.
Coruscant would be a perfect place.
Coruscant speeder bike gangs over in section 1313 would have been great.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you have people who are new to Star Wars writing stuff for Star Wars, I feel.
They don't get it. It's just like, oh, here's a crazy idea. Let's just throw that in there.
Or they're people who are new and they're relatively big fans of Star Wars who are writing stuff for Star Wars. It's like, oh yeah, I'm so excited. Like I said, they did a good job. I'm not saying they did a bad job. It's the fact that then they get something on the spot and it's just a shoehorn. Ain't nobody gonna have a bright green speeder to get around on Coruscant. Yeah, they do. They had that bright yellow big car, and like they had speeders down on the lower levels of Coruscant, like the swoops. You get like the swoop gangs and stuff. Same thing as terrorists. They do like the illegal. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, no, yeah. Nobody's gonna, especially poor, disheveled outcasts. They ain't gonna have perfect looking speeder. And like I said, it's one of those things.
They'd be trying to be cool, but their stuff would just be like crap. It would just be dirty and like broken.
But even if they got their stuff fixed up by Boba Fett, who had money at the time, because he's like the leader. He's like even if so.
But you don't see fancy like casinos and amusement parks on Tatooine.
No, you don't. They're still using things from Tatooine. Like I said, unless you're importing planet to planet, which I guess is weird.
Like they would land and then they would immediately just get like mugged and like all their stuff stolen.
It's just
dandy walking into town. It's like, oh, get him.
yeah. I like once again. I think Disney just thinking Tatooine is that neutral planet everybody's gonna use. Like everything happens on Tatooine. Tatooine's an outer rim planet. Nothing fucking happens on Tatooine.
Yeah.
And like they've picked the wrong planet to pick.
People like Tatooine.
It's familiar.
There again.
It's familiar and it's cheap.
Yeah.
Heard you say Coruscant, and I auto-typed it. I was thinking Tatooine, but yeah, Tatooine, there's no point having bright and shiny things used outside.
Big city.
The sand will dull them anyways. Yes, they will.
People make fun of the fact that it's Star Wars. They make it sound like the entire planet is the same climate and same culture. But,
yeah. I
mean, that's kind of what we've been dealt.
We won't do...
Well, this one section of Tatooine...
We won't do Tatooine, but we'll still do it in the same locations we can shoot at to make less, or to make it cost less money and get more tax revenue. Maybe. We'll call it Jakku.
Yeah, and it's funny because every time George Lucas went back to film in the desert, he always complains like everything gets destroyed,
Yeah, but
it's a big problem.
I bet you it's because of tax breaks or something like that.
Yeah, there must be some other benefit.
It's like shooting in Nevada or whatever. You get a good tax break.
Roll on the sand. Gotta put boards down.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's one of those things where it costs you a lot in maintenance, but they still...
J.J. Abrams, he did the green screen in the desert because he's just like, well, I got to get the lighting right. It's like, but he didn't want the sand blowing into the cameras and all that crap. But yeah, I don't know. It's like the amount of, if I had that kind of money to burn, I'd want some good advisors.
Well, they found what's her name was totally not a Tatooine clone. All they did was add a crash Star Destroyer. Yeah, it's Jakku.
Yeah. Well, it's like the perfectly crashed Star Destroyer, just like the perfectly crashed Death. You could say, they're like, oh, gotta make
that was that was the biggest bullshit because the Death Star blew up.
Destroyed.
The Death Star blew up.
What we saw was not the Death Star. That was the escape pod from the Death Star. Jettisoned right above the planet. So
get out of here! It blew up.
It was a fake. They built it just so that they could.
I'm still hopeful. I'm still looking forward to episode 9. Is anybody else? Because when did that hasn't come out yet? It was supposed to come out in 2019. I don't know what happened. Anyway, that one happened. It did? Nah, really? Oh, Rise of Skywalker. I thought that was a joke.
What name so?
Anyway, we should probably end the stream.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
It's been a long day. I gotta get up at work at 6 a.m. So,
man.
And I'd like to chill with Kurgan, and I've got some editing to do.
I might actually be able to stream Saturday. If I'm not dead tired.
No, wait. What are we waiting for?
Is that Polsky?
Yeah.
Thanks, Polsky. I'm glad you stopped by.
Yeah, no, really, because he hasn't had time to stop by lately. So
yeah, hope you're doing well.
Ray Sandwich.
I think the sequel trilogy would have been better as a role-playing game. That's what I think. Because you're basically just, they talk about Mary Sue's. I mean, you're basically just inserting yourself into the Star Wars universe and saying, well, what if I was a Jedi? Here's what I would do.
My force was burning, so I knew it was time to drop in. You're funny. Yeah, but for real, I need to.
Gary Stevens.
Maybe just be the clip. Anyway. We'll probably gonna call it. We've been 3 hours, 20 minutes, 40 seconds.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it feels a lot longer, but Polsky, for real though, thanks for stopping by. We're gonna call it tonight though.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Yes, thank you for everybody, including Howie Jr. for that sub. And sorry the Rantcast hasn't been more consistent. We're gonna try to stick to our bi-weekly schedule. So the 20th, I believe, is our next Thursday Rantcast.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it? Yeah, 20th will be next Thursday or the Thursday after. So stay tuned, because I don't know if you like the creepy Halloween cam, we'll keep it until November.
If you like the game books, there's more where those came from.
Yeah, so if you're watching the VOD, once again, this is what this camera's for. It's the aesthetic, and it's a lot easier for me to set up anyway. But thank you all for
subscribe.
Yeah, smash that like button.
Ring the bell for notifications.
And
Follow.
thank you all for watching
Donate to
and-
charity.
and being a part of the discussion. There will be more spoopy stuff tomorrow.
Okay.
So, probably some Resident Evil, stuff like that. Rest well. Hey, you too, man. And we'll see you guys next time on
Yes. And Star Wars. You're doing the Star Wars gaming too.
Oh yeah, Friday. Never mind. Friday's not spoopy. It's Star Wars event.
Scared me for a minute there.
I probably would have said it tomorrow anyway. But yeah, some Star Wars event tomorrow. It's day 3. So
Man, you've gotten through so many Star Wars games, and yet there's so many out there.
yeah, we're getting closer to your stuff and Polsky's stuff. So
Yeah. Jedi Academy one of these days.
we're actually about ready to clear the episode 2 and 3 library, and then we're gonna go into stuff like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter and stuff like that, and then Star Wars Rebellion. And
I'm gonna have to try to check out some of those ROM hacks of some of the classic games, because a lot of those games I gave up on because they were just so frustrating. I mean, you stuck with it, obviously, but yeah, there's some where they're like, okay, quality of life improvements that fans have made. I'd be curious to check those out. But yeah,
well, anyway, guys,
scheduled to follow.
have a good rest of your night. Take care, and we'll see you on the next bus ride and or HeroQuest stream.
Might do Saturday.
Might do Saturday. Stay tuned.
HeroQuest fans.
Boo.
No.